Hello, my Teaserking family. We're 2 days from college football, finally. I think I'm live. Yes. There's the clock. Okay. All right. 2 days from college football. And I've had a lot of emails about teasers, about lines. The guy that makes bets and I get 20% of, and it's just been crazy. So why don't we walk through it? I get an email from one of my customers. I can't find that. Notre Dame's laying 18. I can't do this. I can't do that. So first of all, when you go onto a site, there's regular lines, and then there's probably a drop down for a teaser line. And normally when you go into the casino, William Hill, the lines, whatever, Detroit, C -7, you go, okay, I got two teams, 6-point teaser, give me one. You got to know the articulate about it, but basically that's what you're doing. On these sites, you've got to look for the teaser in that. Hey, G, you got to look for the teaser. So I'm glad you found it, G. I was a little surprised. Like, what do you mean a 2-point teaser? So yeah, you found it. So that's good. I'm glad that you found it. But always on these sites, there's either going to be a box that says switch to teasers, or there's a line and then a teaser line. And you got to be careful. There's one out there that fucks you with the line. It's a 7-point game is a 9-point game, because in a teaser you'll lay 3 instead of laying 1, which is absolutely ridiculous. So make sure you find the teaser line. And generally what I want to do is 6-point teasers. I don't really think the 7th point helps me, although my guy did a teaser bet where he knocked it down 7 instead of 6, but that was up to him. I gave him the game. He chose to take it down 7. That's fine, whatever he wants to do. But normally you tie ties. So if you're taking a game, let's say it's Texas from 34 to 28. If they win by 28, it's normally you don't lose it. You normally, if you tie a teaser, it's a tie. You don't lose. So remember that. So, Mr. Stone Cold, let's go through the lines, and there's quite a bit going on. I've been watching some Utah podcasts, and I'm like, all right, what's going on here? What's going on there? So let's go through the lines first. Now I'm going to use scores and odds, and I'm just going to look at the one, and we'll get a pretty close idea of what the line is. Notre Dame, 20.5, 49.5. New Mexico. New Mexico State's down to 7. Well, it was 7.5. That's probably an algorithm play. I haven't seen where the Pavia is injured, so I'm going to look at it like that. UTEP 1.5, 53.5 against Jacksonville State. Prime time school. We got San Diego State 2.5, 48.5. Against Ohio. Vanderbilt 17.5, 55.5, 56. No change there. So we had a tiny change in New Mexico State. I think they were 9, and now they're 7. USC 30.5, 66.5. Really no big change there. It went up a little. I think it was 64, went up to 66. LTech 10.5, 58.5. Really no movement. UCF 36.5, 59.5. That went up from 35. 59.5 up from 58. Let's see. NC State 14.5, 47.5. Down from 15.5. Minnesota 7.5, 44.5. That went up from 7, down from 46 to 44.5. Utah's down to 4.5, 45.5. Now I must talk about this game. So this is not a free play, but we'll talk about it. So what's going on? Cam Rising, who I thought was fine and practicing in a brace and everything else, is now questionable. Probably this game's 8:31, so it's next Thursday at 8 o'clock. So we got one more week. And it's more of a game time decision. 4.5, 45.5. Now, my thought is if he doesn't play, this is a good underplay. Because Utah's defense, I was listening to this podcast, is probably close to a Georgia, your 25, 30 points. This is definitely an under game. I hear Florida just wants to run the ball, provided they can stay in it. They get down 28-0, they're not running the ball. Then you're going to have a lot of turnovers, and then Utah's going to kill them. I think Utah still wins the game, even if they go to the backup, because he's prepared, right? He knows is Rising play. Okay, Rising's not playing. So he's preparing, getting the reps if he's a starter. I'm sure he's not that bad, the backup. So either way, I still like Utah 4.5. I get 1.5. They are red outing it. They are fired up. They got revenge, and it's Graham Mertz from Wisconsin as their quarterback. I really don't see Florida has a chance in this game. If Bobby quarterback receiver, I honestly think Florida gets shut out in the game. From what I'm hearing and seeing, Utah's defense is going to be Georgia-like. They got good running. When Rising's there, this team's going to the playoffs. They will beat USC. They will beat UCLA. They will beat Washington and Oregon, Arizona State. This team is very, very strong. And the key is their defense, right? You can only go into the playoffs and have a chance in the defense. So at 4.5, I still like Utah. Now, I love Utah with Rising, but we don't know if Rising's playing. So I've got to – right now I'm off for the game waiting to hear about Rising. Now, what I would say is the spread's 4.5, which I think is an overreaction because Florida doesn't have shit anyway. And I look at it like if the spread goes up to like 6.5, that would say Rising's playing, and I would blindly just bet Rising that he's playing. Otherwise, I think Utah, I'm very comfortable with them playing, with them winning at home in a red out. So definitely like it goes down a couple notches because Rising, we don't know yet. But we got another week, and the coach is going to wait till probably the 30th to announce it. I don't think he'll wait till the 31st. It's a Thursday. So I think by Wednesday he'll know what's going on. But this is like, this is called betting the defense. So if he's out, it's probably a great under. If he plays, it's a great Utah. So play it by there. All right, let's go. Miami, 17.5, 46.5 over Miami. 17, 46.5, not much change. Michigan State, 14.5, 49.5. Not much changed. Louisville, 8.5, 49.5. Now this went down from 51 to 49.5. Louisville, 8.5. Kansas is playing MSRS, whoever the hell that is. Stanford, 7, 58.5. Down from 9. Again, we got to wait and see what happens with Hawaii the first game. Michigan, 35.5, 51.5. against East Car doesn't have the quarterback. Ehlers is second team on one of these teams I saw. Michigan, I think, will not have their running back. We will see. Liberty, 10.5, 50.5. Down from 11.5. Down from 52. Oklahoma, 34.5, 58.5. So the under went from 60 to 58, and the line went from, 34.5. I think it was probably 35, somewhere right around there. Yeah, I would probably had 33.5. Purdue, 4.5, 50.5. 4.5, 50.5. BC, 9.5, 51.5. Good luck winning by 9.5, BC. Kentucky, 25.5, 48.5. Went down from 26.5. Iowa, 25.5, 40. Up from 23.5. And still 43.5. TCU, 20.5, 59.5. Not much change. Tennessee, 28.5, 57.5. Not any, half-point change. SMU, 19.5, 65.5. Up from 17. 65.5. It was 66, I think. So no change. Temple, 10.5, 54.5. And Todd. Hi, Todd. I'm back and getting ready for about a year of CF. Big Ten looks really interesting. Georgia in the under, always, especially until we find their quarterback, it's really an under, right? Now, if they got, how quickly are they going to let the new quarterback quarter? I think he's a really good one, like whatever a 5-star means, which I always dread that because that's playing high school ball. So we got to see what he looks like, but they'll probably run the ball. They rest their defense. Good luck getting the first down on this defense. It ain't going to happen. So, but unfortunately, there's no action on them the first 2 weeks. They're playing Division II or something. So everybody, I'm from Michigan, and they're like, oh, they play, these crap teams. But they are Division I, East Carolina and Vegas. And here's Alabama and Georgia playing, Tennessee Tech or whatever. They don't even play Division I teams. So anyway, we got more unders, but we're going to wait as we see the games unfold. Ohio State, 28.5, 60.5. That's about where it was. Wisconsin, 26.5, 54.5. Now, Wisconsin's interesting. They're up from 23. Now, they've got Mordecai. They're going to an air raid. How will that affect their defense? Because they're not going to rest. It's not going to be 5-minute drives running the ball, and then they get lots of rest. When the defense doesn't get rest, it changes the defense. I don't know if Wisconsin's going to have this shutdown defense. If they come out with the air raid, throwing the ball 50 times a game, it's going to change their defense. So we got to watch that. How will affect? Now, I think the air raid with Mordecai will work great. It's what he did at SMU. So he's really good for that. So we will see. But I'm not. I want to watch the first couple of Wisconsin games. But it wouldn't surprise me if they started being an over team or scoring a lot. Washington, 15.5, 59.5, up from 14.5. And I think 58. Washington will be very good. I'm not sure their defense. Boise is supposedly a very strong run team. So we will see. They're going to just try to run to keep Washington offense off the field. So this will be a good game to analyze. Auburn, 38.5, 52.5. Didn't move against UMass. Auburn's going with Peyton Thorne, the MSU quarterback. He was pretty good at MSU, but his buddy went for the NFL, so he's probably like, screw it. Probably doesn't have receivers. Michigan State's going to suck this year, so we will see. Western Kentucky, 11.5, 70.5, down from 13.5. I'm not a big South Florida fan. Western Kentucky was a pretty complete team last year. They had a good defense to go with their good offense, so we will see. Texas, that's the free one, 35.5, 59.5, up from 35. Again, Rice stinks. Texas should blow them out, and they got Arch Manning to come in and put up 21 points in the fourth quarter. So even if it's close, I don't look at them not scoring in the fourth quarter. I look for them to score in the fourth, and they'll kill Rice. So that's our free play. Army and Texas. Cal, 7.5, 55.5. Down from 58. I'm not sure this should be going down from 58 to 55. North Texas can score, and they're going to run the Mike Leach offense. Morris is their new coach who runs the Mike Leach offense. They both have new quarterbacks. Neither team's got a defense. I'm not sure I'm jumping under on this game. Georgia's playing TMRT. Tomorrow, I don't know what that means. It's Division II. Just put 65-0, probably the score there. USC up from 37.5, and 63 is what it was. Let's see what they look like week one and injury-wise, and then we'll go to week two. Baylor, 26.5, 59.5, up from 56. The line was 26.5. Baylor, yes, definitely an over team. But they have a very good defense, so I'm not sure this is an over game. Texas State is not a big offense, so this could get out of hand for Baylor. Again, what do they do week one? How long do they play? Probably into the third quarter. This isn't like the NFL. They actually play their players. And then I could see the backup coming in middle of the fourth quarter, and hopefully it doesn't screw up too much. But these are games like here that Baylor, they got a tough conference. They want to go to a bowl game. Maybe they go to the playoff. They can't afford to fuck up with Texas State. Washington State, 12.5, 56.5. Really hasn't moved. Curious Washington State's defense this year. A&M, 37.5, 48.5. Didn't really move. It was 38. So I'll just leave it at 38. A&M with the new offense, because they've done shit. Bobby Petrino from Louisville is the offensive coordinator. They need a quarterback. They have a defense. We will see. Finally, a line. Houston, 1.5, 60.5 over my UTSA. And the over went from 65 to 60. So I wonder if there was some injury in here. I'll have to check that. As long as Frank Harris is playing, I'm going with UTSA. But we got to check is there an injury? And it's really on scores and odds. If I went into injuries, I probably, let's see, but I probably won't. They're bad at updating the injuries. I got to go to my thing. I have that one website where it lists everything, right? Let's see. Houston injury, nobody. UTSA, nobody. Yeah. Just what I thought. So there's a site that I have that goes through every injury. So I will check that out for you. Todd, Oregon State, your favorite quarterback, Iglia Buglia. Don't see them beating Washington. Not with him. Not unless he got a whole lot better, which I can't believe. This is a typical example. They made him a quarterback because he's an athlete, but he ain't a quarterback. Well, I need a quarterback who's a quarterback. I'd much rather have Hartman, Van Dyke, and Rising over Uglia Buglia. Even though he's probably the better athlete, he ain't the better quarterback. You can make the case Lamar against Mahomes. Lamar's a better athlete, but Mahomes gets us the money, and that's why I don't care about the running quarterback. It doesn't do me any good. All right. Let's see. Okay, so Houston 1.5 over UTSA. Check for the injuries. Otherwise, I like UTSA if Frank Harris is playing. He's one of those really strong quarterbacks. This game, UTSA should win it. I'm getting 7.5. I can't see that. Now, this is one that I've seen UTSA -1. I've seen Houston -1. This is 1.5 now. So get UTSA as the dog. I would recommend before it changes and they turn favorite again. So again, I don't know if there was this doesn't seem like an injury. It wasn't. This is what it started at. Houston won 1.5. Then it went to even, and now back to 1.5. I think there was a serious injury. This would go 3 or 4 points. Army. Okay, so what? Because I give this as my free pick, now I'm getting hammered on it. Line goes to 9.5, 48.5 from 7.5. You know, I'm gonna have to start giving these games silently or sign language. So everybody's jumping on the Teaserking's pick, and then it jumps up to 9.5. UL Monroe sucks. I mean, I thought the line at 7.5 was ridiculous. Now this is the free pick. Do I still play it, Professor? Which I get a lot. G asked me those questions a lot. You know, the spread moved a point. Is it still worth it? In this case, I mean, I like Army as long as they're under 7. I like Army. Again, when I give a game, I'm not assuming Army's going to win by 2 or 3 points against Lou Monroe. I'm assuming they're going to beat them by 20. That's how I look at games. I don't do the computer bullshit, algorithm bullshit that I hate. Well, I think we'll get them under 3 just because they're under 3. I don't bet like that. I never have, and I never will. I analyze the game. I look at the matchup. Army, strong running team with a new offensive coordinator who I really like. Seems very impressive. And then I got Lou Monroe, who sucks. So if I break it down, Lou Monroe is a W. They don't have an offense, and they got a terrible defense. And Army's a B team. Very strong offense, very strong defense. I don't see how Lou Monroe is going to score on them. And I think Army, with the new offense, can score, and then they'll go back to that option, and they win the game by 20. That's how I break the game down. So if the spread moves a point or 2, I don't care. However, I don't wait either. So when I told you this last week, free pick, Army, Texas, I go ahead and bet it at that time. I don't fuck around. When I got the line I want, 7, 7.5, I don't know where the line's going. Now, Utah is a different because I thought Rising was playing. And I see the 9, and I'm waiting for it to come down, and then it's 7.5, and it's 6, and it's 5.5, 4.5. Now it's to the point where I'm going to bet them on the 4.5 because I don't care if they're rising or not. So different animals, but I'm perfectly comfortable. Again, I've already got Army Texas bet, so this is strictly a matter of the line jump. Still play it. You might play it a little less because you're laying 3.5. You might play a 7-point teaser. My guy played a 7-point teaser in one of the games. So I give him the game. He bets it. We win. I get 20%. And so on one of them, he took a 7-pointer, not on this one. In fact, the line he got was -10. So we're in there at -4 as opposed to -1.5 that I bet. But he couldn't even get it. I don't know what the fuck he's betting with. He can't even get totals for half the games. I'm like, what the fuck? So that's what he's waiting in. I won't have to ask anymore, thankfully. Well, gee, it's okay. I mean, I'm here to ask questions too. I'd have thought you'd have had it down after last year because you played teasers. So I thought you said it's the same site. But anyway, yeah. As soon as I give a game and I like the line, I bet it. I don't fuck around. And in fact, week 2, I see 2 locks already in the totals that I'm going to bet as soon as the total hits. Because these totals are not going to, on Sunday when I see them, until Saturday when the games play, they're going to move 5-6 points. So I am going to bet the totals Sunday night as soon as I can. So that's the advantage if you're a customer, because I email the customers, bet this game now. And I can't email you guys if you're not customers. Now I can come in and do the thing, but unless it's a free pick, you don't know which ones I'm doing. That's the advantage of actually getting my picks. I'm betting Army in Texas. I love Utah, but we're waiting on Rising. So there's some games that I like, but I'm giving you every game. I'm not betting every game. So that's why I urge you to buy, and you'll make 10 times more looking at my picks, seeing how strong or weak I'm betting on, getting my locks. You don't have any idea what my locks are. So that's kind of my point. So it does benefit you to buy. And then it's, okay, bet this ASAP, this total or whatever. I thought the alternative lines were considered teasers on Bovada until finally Googled it. I don't know what an alternative line is. I guess what you're saying is the Notre Dame line at -18 was a different, you would bet it, but then you had more juice, I guess. So instead of just the 20, you could lay 19, but you got to lay 150 or something. Yeah, no, that's not a teaser. Teaser would definitely be a 6-point teaser. A 9.5, like Army, you might want to do a 7-point teaser, get it down to 2.5. That would make sense. However, I still think Army's gonna. I'm not really worried about him winning by a field goal. It could happen, but I don't see against Lou Monroe. Okay. Yeah, it says. Okay, so we got Army 9.5, 48.5. We love Army. We love Texas. Those are the free picks. North Carolina 2.5, 63.5, up from 62 against Rattler in the South Carolina. This should be a high-scoring game. North Carolina, very strong offense, no defense. And South Carolina, strong offense. Should light up North Carolina's weak defense, as we saw. Illinois, 9.5, 46.5. Where's Illinois? 9.5. That's down from 49, it looks like. Got it. It opened at 53. 40. We'll call it 47 just to keep it easy, and 9.5. So this is another under team: Illinois, Iowa, Iowa State, Georgia. A lot of the Big Ten are under teams, and a lot of the Big 12 and Pac-10 are over teams. They score a bunch, and they play weak defense. Now, Utah could be another under, but if Rising's playing, they'll just be like Georgia. They'll be an 18. They're just going to kill everybody. Okay, G. Don't worry about it. You're fine. So that's what we start finding out. Michigan's going to be like Utah. Strong defense, but they can score. But they're going to run the ball. Utah, I don't think will run it with Rising as much. Utah could win it all. They'll be like a little better than TCU because they got a better defense. But they're going to be just like that type of team. And the shame is, well, they don't get in the playoffs because they lose a game or two. But look at who they're playing. Alabama does not go through that schedule. Georgia doesn't either. Georgia's got what? I don't even know if they play LSU. They play Florida, Kentucky, Tennessee, whoever from the East. And then they got the championship game against LSU. But they don't have the same, like Utah's got UCLA, USC, Oregon, Washington State, Arizona State. I mean, they got a much harder schedule than I think the SEC teams. But anyway, so we don't know if Oregon State and Washington State are defense. They were last year. I think Washington State will still be a defensive team because they don't got a quarterback. Oregon State doesn't have a quarterback either. Again, I think like Rutgers is under because they stuck Minnesota as an under. Cincinnati was, but now Lou Fickle's at Wisconsin, who was an under. But now you take Wisconsin's an under, but now they're going to this explosive offense, which makes them probably not an under. We'll see. Texas Tech 14.5, 52.5 against Wyoming. No big change. Alabama minus 39.5, 53.5. Nothing changed there. I don't know how Alabama's going to win this game with like 40 points. See, here's where the money's going on Alabama, even though it doesn't deserve it. They started at 36. Now they're theoretically a 40-point favorite. I honestly don't. They got a bad quarterback this year. Yeah, their defense will be pretty good against the Middle Tennessee team. Their weakness is going up against the Georgia or LSU or a Utah teams with good defenses and good offenses. They got Texas week 2. And this will be very interesting because Alabama does not like good throwing quarterbacks. Penn State 20.5, 52.5. Penn State 20.5, 54. So the little bit of money going under. VTech 15.5, 49.5, up from 14.5. Another under team, Virginia Tech, pretty good defense, no offense. See, that's why you got to analyze the offense and the defense and put it together. If you've got no quarterback, which gives you no offense and any kind of defense, you're an under. If you have no defense either, then you become a Z team. Either way, we like you when you don't have an offense and a quarterback. We can make some money on you. Game of the week, I think, Tulane 754.5 against South Alabama. What a game. Nothing changed there. 2 A teams playing. I like the dog here. Tulane's very good. Their quarterback's back. South Alabama's very good. Their quarterback's back. South Alabama went to UCLA last year and lost 32-31 or something like that. So it won't bother them. This game will go down to the wire, I believe. So good, real good game. 8 o'clock. ESPN News. BYU 20.5, 50.5 against Sam freaking Houston. Do I even have it listed? Probably not. I got to add it. BYU, Sam Houston. BYU, don't I have them? Thought I had BYU. Yeah, Baylor. So BYU has a new quarterback this year. They got, and they're in the Big 12, I think. Sam Houston's now in the whatchamacallit, it starts with the NAS. What is that? Jesus, what the fuck? They're in the Troy division. We'll put it that way. I never understood what unit means. Is that 150 or 1500? Well, okay. Let me do two more and I'll answer your question, G. So BYU 20.5, 50.5. So we don't know who Sam Houston is, so we're going to find out. But they are now Division I. UCLA 14.5, 64.5, down from 15.5. Money going on my McCall. That's good. This should be high scoring. Rutgers Northwestern, I don't have anything. 3.5, 47 is what it started. It was 6.5, 40 was last I saw it. But now Northwestern's coach is gone, so I don't know. Oregon State 16.5, 54.5. Hasn't moved. Should be a good game. San Jose State's got a good quarterback. Bobby's LSU team 2.5, 57.5. Hasn't really moved. And it might have been 56, 57. And normally, again, A-team against A-team, LSU, Florida State, I would probably app more towards the dog, more towards the under. When you have good defenses, they have the way. Look at Ray Lewis, has the way of shutting you down. And that's what I think will happen. And Clemson, 12.5, down from 13.5, 56.5. Hasn't moved against Duke. I got to put the BYU line in there. 20.5, 50.5. Okay. Now, I can't play BYU Sam Houston because I don't know who Sam Houston is. And you can't look at last year because they played Division II. Sun Belt. They're in the Sun Belt. I knew it was an S. I couldn't think of it. Sun Belt. It's funny how when you try to find it, you can't. Then you kind of get off track, and then it pops in, Sun Belt. Anyway, so you don't know how good Sam Houston is. They could have won the Division II championship. Doesn't matter. They're playing Division II. That's why these guys from North Dakota State, I can't believe they drafted him. Or Trey Lance. I mean, what the fuck? Isn't he North Dakota State? Didn't you learn from Carson Wentz that these guys suck? So I think Trey Lance is North Dakota State. The stick on San Diego is North Dakota State. And none of them are any good because they play division. They play high school ball. Why would you want to take a chance? All right. So that is the college lines. So our biggest move is Army, which I give you. So again, the free teasers, Army still minus 3.5, still go with it. Maybe a 7-point teaser, get it to 2.5 with Texas. However, I don't think Texas wins by 30. I think they win by 60. And I don't think Army wins by 3. I think they win by 20. That's just my assumption, thought process, and analysis. Now, let's answer G's question. What you do as a professional football bettor, which I am, and I've been for since 1975, I think. I bought a VCR when it was like $1,000 in the 70s. That's when I bought my first one so I could watch the Saturday afternoon games because I worked at the grocery store 2:30 to 11. So I would miss the 4 o'clock game and I'd miss the night game. So I taped them both. And when I got home at 11, I started watching. So what do I learn? How do I bet? Well, as I said, I look for teams and I kind of rank teams and I look for, do I want to play Ohio State over? Do I want to play Washington? Do I want to play Texas? Do I want to play Wisconsin? So I kind of feed that into my system and I kind of look at what I like. Do I like it or not? So I've determined Army and Texas, they look good. They feel good. I'm going to play them. So we know that. Now, what is G's question? What's a unit? Units are derived by your bankroll, depending on how big your bankroll is. Now, back then in the 70s, my bankroll was probably $2,500. So I would bet $50 to start the season, and then I'd go up to 100. And the best play, now because it was just me betting, I didn't call it a lock. That's more an industry term. So I would just get the vibe on the lock, and I would bet it maybe for 100 or 150. I never let one game beat me. So what you have to do, G, and everybody else, is what am I betting here? And what can I afford to lose that I'm not going to – I want to be able to pay rent and pay my car payment and buy my gold and silver and eat. So I've got to take that money to the side. It's like me buying gold right now. What do I need for rent and food and utilities? And then leave a little cushion, and then everything else goes to gold and silver. And now here comes football. And then I'm working, so I get money in so I can pay the bill. Like today, I'm supposed to get paid today. I'll get paid tomorrow. It's funny. I get paid every other Thursday, and then it's supposed to be Friday. I get paid a day early, and then they fuck up like they did today, which is ironic because I just told the guy. I asked him about working in Europe, and he said, as long as you don't move there, you can work there. So I teased him like, again, I got paid on Thursday. I get paid a lot on Thursdays. And then, of course, today I don't get paid. He probably did that out of spite. But he's like, don't worry, you'll get tomorrow. And, they want to pay me. They want me to work. They're making a lot of money on me. I guarantee it. So with that said, so it depends on your situation. Are you getting income in? So to figure out your unit is basically how much money do I have to bet? 1,000, 2,000, 5,000. Maybe you're Mr. Big, like in that movie, Two for the Money, and you play $1 million a game. I don't know. I don't think I have any of those customers, although I wonder why I don't. I should have a bunch of them. So that's your first question, G. Okay, so let's give you a $2,500 bankroll. You don't have to tell me. We'll just assume it. So for $2,500, you probably want to start off at 35 to 50 a game, and take your top couple of games, and you probably bet them. Maybe the biggest game, the lock, the one you feel good about, you maybe go 50 on. That would be, it's not even really a unit. I do units more for the channel. When I bet, it was all gut. It was, this is in the 70s. So if I like the game, it's 50. If I really, really like a team and I can smell it, it's 100 or 150. I mean, because I always have bet teasers since 77. Before that, I just bet the game straight. So I won the Steeler-Raider Immaculate Reception game. I won the USC when they came back against Notre Dame game. when they were down 24-0 and they won 55-24. I had USC in the game straight in a straight bet. I probably bet $50 on it. It was 1974. So because I'm the one picking the game and I'm the INFG in the crowd and I get gut feelings, the stronger the gut feeling, the stronger the bet was. I'm not really sure 50. I love the game. It's 150. Kind of how I played it. So if you look at my picks, so I give you a lock. This week's lock's 15 units. That would be the $150 game if I was a kid. Other game, the Army Texas, would probably be $100, but I would have bet it at 75. It's a better bet at 7.5 down to 1.5 than it is 9.5 down to 3.5. So I would try to get it under 3, but then I'd make a bigger bet with it. So that might be a $75 play. And then let's say, another game I liked, I might play it, like if Rising's playing, it's probably like a $75 or $100 game because the red out, if he's playing with this defense, I don't like Florida. It all fits that. I just have a really good feeling on Utah. But on, SMU, Tech, I'm not really sure. Maybe I'll bet the game over. Maybe I'll bet SMU. When I'm like that, if I bet it at all, because I think SMU is going to score a lot, it's a very small bet, right? So it's a $50 bet. And I would probably say that if I played that game, I would look for a similar game like that, and it'd probably be, I'd put it down for like 7 units. But that doesn't mean your unit's $25, so you're going to bet 125 or 175. I don't think you play your units like that. I think what you do, and again, I'm different because I'm the professor, right? I get the feel, so I know how much I want to bet based on what my gut says. So what I try to do is say, oh, this is a lock. I love the game. And then depending on your bankroll and what your unit is, depends on how much you bet. I wouldn't necessarily, if I give you a 20 unit play, I wouldn't bet, and I got $50 unit, put $1,000 on it or whatever. Or what would that be? Yeah, 1,000, I think. I would just say, oh, his locks, 20, 25, I'm going to bet 200 on. And if it's a 7 or 9 unit, I'll probably bet 25 or 50 on, with the intent of building the bankroll. So if the bankroll is 2,500, when it gets to 35, 4,000, now I increase those bets. Now my 25s are 50, my 50s are maybe 75. My ones I really like that are 150 now are like 300 now. Now, when I bet the Florida State Oklahoma game and the Orange Bowl and the Michigan Auburn game, the Bo Jackson, which I think was the same, the feel I got on that Florida State game was huge. I had Florida State in 13, and they lost 18-17. I think it was 80 or 81 Orange Bowl. And Michigan I love because they were the dog, and I always played Bo as the dog. But the feeling I got, and being an INFJ, it was a $2,000 bet. I never bet. This is 1980. I never bet 2,000 a game. So, I probably was playing the end game 100, I really like it 250, and the real strong one 500. So I really love that one. It was 2,000. And my friends couldn't believe I was playing poker. I just sit out of the poker game to watch the fourth quarter because I couldn't, I got $2,000 on the game. I'm watching it. And best part was I won. Normally the guy who makes the big bet loses. And so because you're on the other end and you're not really picking them or you're not really getting that feel the way I do, all I can say is, I really love a game when I lock it, or when 20 units, 25 units, like Kansas City in the Super Bowl. I love Kansas City as the dog, and I loved it over, and I think I played it for 20, 25 units. It was a couple $1,000 bet. But it was the last game, and I was up, so that's kind of what I did. So a lot of it is, how am I doing? I'm winning, I'm increasing the bankroll. So I can increase the bet, because if I lose, I'm still way up. So it didn't really, it wasn't going to hurt me. But I would never bet 25,000 on it, because you're never sure. There could get the injuries, something could happen. So you never really want to risk that, because there's outside. It's mostly the injury fail. What if Mahomes got hurt? Now what do I do? Now I'm dead. So that's why you never really bet like full tilt. Oh, I'm up 20 grand. I'm going to bet 20 grand. You always keep it in proportion. You always are building the bankroll. That's what the professionals do. They build the bankroll. Sort of like what I'm doing with gold. I'm buying an ounce here. I'm buying an ounce there. 2 ounces here. Tomorrow I'll probably buy an ounce. I don't empty my bankroll. Now, I'm not worried about losing. I'm going to make a lot on gold. We don't know the time, but I'm not worried about, I lost my money buying gold. I would worry about it in the stock market, but not in gold. Do you only straight bet or teamer? I only do teasers. I don't think I've done a straight bet in 20 years. As you can see in the Super Bowl, I teased it. I remember making a straight bet on a game and I lost. Had I teased it, I would have won. And that was like, okay, from now on, we're teasing it. Because I don't have a problem picking a second team. And sometimes, as I showed you, I hit an 11-team teaser and a 10, and they get a lot of odds. So I can always find the second game. So I tease everything. Take Utah, 4.5 over Florida, over under, what is it, 40, 46. Maybe, okay, I won't tease it. I'll lay the 4.5, or I'll go under 46. But let's say I go under 46, and then they play a 50, and I would have won under 52.5. That's why I don't do it, because it would drive me nuts. 4.5. I could take Utah plus 1.5, and I don't tease them, and they win by a field goal. I would have won the bet, but I lost because I'm laying 4.5. Now, I don't think that's going to happen either way. I think Utah shuts them out. However, I don't care. My brother always used to do that to me, and it always pissed me off. That's why I don't talk to my brother now. I mean, it would be like, I'd lay, it was a 7-point game. I bet it heavy -1, and they'd win 42-0, and he didn't need the teaser. And I go, anybody can pick the game after it's over, but when you're betting, you bet before the game starts. You don't know that's going to go 49-0. You have no idea. So he would always say, you didn't need the teaser, you didn't need the teaser. And then when I needed the teaser, and I go 7-1 and they win by 3, I'd be like, look, I needed the teaser there. I needed the teaser. So it was just, one of those things that I just play teasers. So I always, that's why these are my bets on the site, my picks. This is who I like. The ones I have a really good feeling on are my locks, and my higher units. So to fully answer the question, G, I would get my bankroll. So it's, let's say, 2,500. So on the normal games, the 7, 9, maybe even the 11 units, it's $25. On the higher unit games, it's probably 50 or 75. And on the locks, you probably go 100. And then you slowly, methodically, we win 3 out of 4. We win 3 out of 4. Now you're up to 3,000. Now you move 25 to 50, maybe 50 to 100, and whatever the lock or the strong play maybe goes to 200. And as we keep winning and building it, we keep edging it up, and then all of a sudden you're at $10,000, and you didn't have risk. You didn't play one game for 2,500. I was watching that movie Two for the Money or whatever, and I'll never forget the guy has the laundry guy, and he's betting 1,000 a game doing laundry. And then all of a sudden he's got him betting 10 or 20 grand a game, and he buys a Ferrari and da 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 da. And then he goes and he starts losing, and then he loses, and he blames the guy, and they're like, "Look, dude, if you're up 400 grand, what the fuck would you be betting 400 grand on a game for?" See, this is my point when I tell you about Madoff, or I tell you about stocks or Bitcoin or anything, is you've got to be smart. You're playing poker, you're playing blackjack, your craps at the casino. You got to be smart about it. You know what you're betting, and then you build it a little bit, and then you start losing, you get the fuck out. And you make sure. So if I'm playing craps for $500 and I get it to 800, I'm not losing. I'm at worst probably winning $200, and I'll play out the other 100. And if I lose, I walk away plus 200. I'm never going to give it all back. Or let's say it's 20,000. I'm never going to give it back. That's the key to winning. That's what you're there for. You're not there to you're there to have a good time, but you're there, if you're gambling, to win, in my mind. People don't get that. People, I'll play poker with them, and they go, "I don't understand how you can quit, like quitting a winner." I'm going, well, it's mostly psychological. I'm a winner, not a loser. And that's a very big psychological thing when you're gambling. Even if you win $20, it's better than losing 300. And at the end of the day, I won $20. Now I can go back to that casino. I feel, I won here last time, and that's really what you're looking at. So that's what I would do to answer G's question properly and fully. You're betting very small, because your intent is not, I got 2,500 to gamble, I'm going to gamble it. It's the bankroll. This is what I can afford to lose, but I'm not going to lose it in 1 week. I'm gonna be paying. It's like gold. We're waiting for the gold price to go up, and I keep saying, keep buying it. It's on sale. It's cheap. Buy it. And that's, it didn't go up yet. Well, that's okay. You can keep accumulating it. And then all of a sudden, when it goes up, you're going to, wow, I kept buying it, and look what happened. So if you buy a stock, what do you expect it to go up the next day? See, you've got to use your intelligence, right? So if I'm playing 2,500, there's 20 weeks in the year, including Super Bowl and playoffs and college playoffs. And there's always that good game every week, that one, Utah game, and then Army and Texas. That's what you're looking for. So you digest all the games and you find that game, and that's your big hitter. That's your $100, $200 game. The other ones you kind of get a feel on. Well, I kind of like, what TCU over Colorado. I kind of like that. That'll be a $25 game. I can't risk a lot on it, but I think they'll win. Or SMU over, or Georgia under. I mean, that depends on the line, but those I get strong feelings on, because I know those are ridiculous. They're laying 52. You go under 58, and the game's 30-0. Those are gifts, but that's the key. USC over. They don't have a defense. They'll probably score a lot. UCLA probably over. We got to see their quarterback. Ohio State, Alabama. So the other thing is, who's the quarterback now? So the biggest thing, Florida doesn't have a quarterback. Alabama doesn't have one. Ohio State. Now we got to see if they do, but I keep saying it's all the system. Then you look at, who does? Well, UCLA lost theirs. Cam Rising, Van Dyke, Hartman, Penix at Washington, Williams at UC, Bo Nix at Oregon. I think Arizona State's got theirs. You go to Baylor, yes. TCU, yes. Oklahoma, yes. Texas, yes. And then that's what you focus on because you already know they're okay quarterbacks. They're Arkansas. And that's what you're looking at. What you're trying to avoid is the unknown because there's a lot more risk. I don't know what they're going to do. The Ohio State quarterback might be great. He might not be great. So he might be Herb Kirkstreet, and he sucked. So you've got to really know who your quarterback is to you've got to know. The more you know about the team, there's less risk. We know Utah with Rising, they probably won't lose a game. We know Georgia with their defense. If they have any kind of quarterback, they got Brock Bowers, probably the first pick of the draft, and just let them go. So just let's see what the quarterback does. So that's what you're trying to gain. And the more confident you feel, the more you bet. And then you start getting the feel, which maybe I'm unique because I'm an INFJ and I have a huge instinct. And because I've been doing this since probably 65, 66, started betting, I know, in 1970, betting quarters and half dollars. But that's the key is I do have that gut instinct. So when it really, it's a little bet, it's a small bet. But when it's huge, like Texas, I have a really good feeling on Texas against Rice. And here's Arch Manning, which we haven't seen, but we know he's a Manning. We know their quarterback's good. They got Alabama the next week, so we will see that. Now, I'm already looking ahead, Texas, Alabama, and I go, well, fuck. If you want to give me like over 14, the game's on. If Alabama's favored, so Alabama blows out Middle Tennessee State. They're favored by 39. Is that who it is? So Alabama's got Middle Tennessee State laying 39, which is way too much because we don't know the quarterback and he's not that good. Now we got them at home against Texas. They'll be where they should be a 3 or 4 point favorite. They'll be a 10-point favorite, probably. And that's where we, see, can we bet against Alabama? How bad is the quarterback? He'll probably look good because it's Middle Tennessee State, but they played them to a 20-19 game last year, Texas. So there is some revenge there. But that's what you're looking. So you kind of look ahead, and you go from there. You try to get the matchup. You try to bet good defensive teams with a good quarterback. Utah. Then we got to find good defensive teams, but Notre Dame with Hartman might be. Let's see how good their defense is. Hey, Luke. We're talking football now. Week 1 college. BRICS seems to be a bust with a gold-backed currency. I wouldn't say that, but we'll talk about that in a minute. So really, that's what you're looking at. You've got your bankroll. You're making your bets that don't kill you. You're trying to build the bankroll. That's what you're trying to do. And because you understand we're going to have winners and we're going to have losers. So you don't want the losers to kill you. And when we're winning, you want to build the bankroll up more. But you'll get the feeling on the game. And I trust you get the feeling. So if I give a lockout, I don't know if you just take my word for it or you go, wow. Now, when I got the Florida State against Oklahoma in the 80-81 Orange Bowl, his rating was like 96. And normally his ratings were in the 70s. When I saw that, and I watched his ratings and his picks the whole time, and I didn't agree with most of them, but when he gave that one, it really felt strong. Like, yes, this is good, and that's why I bet 2,000 on it. But I had that gut feeling that he was pretty honest. So most of his picks were 70, 75, and some would win, some would lose. But when he actually put a 95 out there, 96, I knew he must love this game. And so it got me to bet a lot. So I don't know. So that's why I'm not quite sure if you bet blindly what I say or you actually get your feel on it and go, yeah, I really like it too. And the professor likes it, so I'm going to bet more because I liked it and he likes it. So that's good. So anyway, that's your line. So we'll keep an eye on. So if we go down the list, we got the 26th, which is Saturday. We got Notre Dame Navy, UMass, New Mexico State, Ohio, San Diego State, Hawaii, Vandy, USC, San Jose State, LTech, Florida International. And then we get next Thursday, we get UCF, Kentucky, or Kent State, NC State, Connecticut, our Utah game, Minnesota, Nebraska. And then we get to a couple of Friday games, and then the Saturday, a lot of them. The Army game, the Texas game are the next Saturday. So we have all that. Hey, Bobby Bo, college football, you're late. I was going over the biggest thing is the Utah is now 4.5 over Florida, and we're waiting on Rising. I found a YouTube on Utah. It's like a podcast. It's a Utah guy. So it's really going to be the day of the game for Rising. He's hurt, but is he ready? He had an ACL in the Rose Bowl after the Rose Bowls, or an MCL. So really it takes about 10 months to get over it. So if you waited a few weeks, that wouldn't be a surprise. The backups had time to learn, and they've got this killer defense from what I heard. So we will see. I think if he doesn't play, I think it turns into an under game because I think it'll go 20-0 if he doesn't. But if he plays, it's 40-0 because Graham Mertz ain't going to do it. From what I hear, Florida's just going to try to run the ball. And from what I heard, Utah's got the Georgia defense, so good luck running the ball on this defense. So it should be a very low-scoring game without Rising. With them, I love Utah. But right now, I can't do anything. Army went up to 9.5, so they obviously saw my pick, and everybody bet it. I don't get why that moved from 7.5 to 9.5. I doubt anybody on Louisiana Monroe is good enough to even move the line. Purdue's 4.5. I'm just going through the notable line changes for you, Bobby. Washington went up to 15.5. I know you like them. Texas still 35. Wisconsin's up to 26. USC second game against Nevada's up to 39. Houston, UTSA, I see on the board. Houston's 1.5-point favorites. We like UTSA and Frank Harris. And they're supposed to have a really good running back this year, too. What else? Penn State's up to 20.5. Illinois is up to 9.5. VTech's up to 15.5. UCLA's 14.5, 64. And that's about it. So those are the noticeable is Utah with Rising. Army's up to 9.5 because I gave it as a free pick, although I can't believe Texas will probably be 37 by next week. And that's about it. So we got to watch Utah, which we will know next Wednesday. The game's next Thursday, and then Army's on Saturday, a week from Saturday, as is Texas. And then we got UTSA on the board. So that's basically the big talk. And then I like the dog in the LSU Florida State game, and I said you like LSU. All right, Luke. Okay, BRICS seems to be a bust with a gold-backed currency. See, I don't believe that they were going to say, because the U.S. pretty powerful and is probably saying don't say that. So behind closed doors, I know Putin wants it. because they're sanctioned and you got inflation and China's having trouble and they got all this gold. So, of course, they want to go to a gold-backed currency. And we don't know that they didn't say it. They might have said we're going to a currency backed by commodities instead of gold. But I'm not worried about it. I'm sure they're going to go to a gold-backed currency. So just because I watched some of it live and it was so boring. Like, do they actually need the meeting to announce it? I don't think so. I mean, they could have had a meeting, closed door meeting. We're going gold standard, but don't say it. I was surprised they only let 6 countries in. There's 40 that wanted to join, so I'm not really clear on that, but they did let 6 in, so now it's BRICS is 12. And I'm very happy Saudi Arabia and QAE is in. What's that? Dubai. So they're in. And Argentina. So Brazil and Argentina are now in. So from that standpoint, now it's 12 and 40 more want to join and get off the U.S. And they know they want to go to a gold-backed currency. So I'm not really concerned that they didn't say, hey, we're going to a gold-backed currency. I don't think they really could have politically, and the U.S. and everything else. The U.S. wants to keep provoking a war. Well, they're already fighting Russia, so it's really crazy. But anyway, I don't think there's a bust to the gold-backed currency. I'm not worried about it because the U.S. is still inflating the shit out of the dollar, which will go to gold anyway. So there's, like I said, there's 5-6 different things that'll get us to gold. It doesn't have to be BRICS, but I'm sure they're going to start it, and I'm sure we're inflating it. See, what everybody seems to keep missing is, well, it's the reserve currency. It doesn't have a value. It's zero. They've inflated it to nothing. That's what you got to look at. So they can say it does the most settlement and it's the reserve currency and yada yada yada. But at the end of the day, it's inflated to nothing. It has no value. So, I don't need BRICS to announce it to get the gold out. So I made this picture, Bobby. So in the picture, I've got lemons, and what do I got on the bottom there? Christ. I got cinnamon. I got the ginger. I sliced up a few gingers in there. That's what it is. So I got water with 2 chunks of ginger, a bunch of cinnamon, and squeezed a bunch of lemon in it. So, because I make a lot of ginger tea, and I'm figuring, well, sometimes I like cold water, and this way I have it, and I want to drink a lot of water. So anyway, so I'm fine, Bobby. It's Thursday. I didn't get paid today. I'll get paid tomorrow. I got to tell Jenna now I can go to Berlin for a month. So I talked to my company. They're saying as long as you still have a U.S. address, you can work in Europe for 6 months if you want. As long as, because the taxing, I've got to be a U.S. citizen to do the taxes. I think it just creates a problem for them if I'm now a European citizen. I said, no, I'm just going because my girlfriend's there and I'll spend. And the thing is with Jenna, because she's Ukraine, there's the rent zero because she's like in a war. So any Ukraine citizen who's working in Germany applies and gets a rent-free apartment. So I don't have a hotel to worry about for a month like I would in Vegas. So I'll probably go in a few weeks, I think. And Daria showed me her teeth, and now she showed me I need 2 others on the other side. So I said, well, we'll get them taken care of too. So it's funny. It's like when it's payday, then I hear from her. That's okay. In other words, if you read it, when she needs me, I'm there. She contacts me. She's just out there, and she doesn't really need me for anything. then she doesn't think of contacting me because I'm not like the Russian guys. Talking college football, as I just said, Notre Dame and New Mexico State ready to some wins. I would think they should. They certainly are much the better team with much the better quarterback. Yeah, Luke, it looks like BRICS was rigged. Well, again, they're talking behind closed doors, and we know who runs it, Russia and China, and we know they want gold-backed currency because they got all the gold. So, of course, India doesn't care about gold, but they're inflated to zero also. So they're trying to make it sound like India has power in this thing when we know it's run by Russia and China. Russia and China are running BRICS. If you think that if Zimbabwe was in it, that they're running it over China and Russia, you're out of your mind. So China and Russia wants gold-backed currency, which Russia does. I'm sure they will, especially with the sanctions and everything. And I'm waiting to see Mark McGuire and then hear from Aegon and Alligator like next week what they thought. I kept trying to see if they did anything while the thing was going on. It ended today, but I didn't really see anything. I read something on Reuters about, but all that kind of stuff is propaganda. They're really not going to tell you. So if you see CNBC or Fox or anything saying, and they don't talk about the gold-backed currency, don't be surprised. They're not going to bring it up. Now, if you can find it on a Russian, I'm asking Daria in St. Pete, Russia, that if they mention anything, let me know. She'll probably know before we will. So she will if they mention it. But like I said, if it didn't happen right now, it's happening. So it just gives us an opportunity to buy more gold. I'm going to go tomorrow. I didn't get paid today, so I'll get paid tomorrow. So I'll probably buy just an ounce tomorrow, maybe two. And then the next pay, then I'll buy another two or so. But that's what I'm looking at. So that's why I'm kind of like I don't quite want to go to Europe yet because I don't want to spend money on airfare when I can buy more gold. So we will see. Can't trust the Rising. He never seems to get tired of running things. You just don't have the heart. He makes Johnny Manziel look like Tom Brady. Oh, I don't think it's that, Bobby. He had an MCL on his knee. That's why he left the Rose Bowl. And he's rehabbing it, and it takes 10, 11 months, and it happened in January. So let's say it happened in December. We'll give you that. So it's only been 8 months. So for his knee to be ready after 8 months is unusual. It's like a 10-month injury. So that doesn't surprise me at all. The fact I saw him in a knee brace throwing, he looks good, but can he take a hit to go? So I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't play, but then we'll just bet Utah under the first few weeks. But no, I don't. You can't call him Johnny Manziel. That's not nice. But anyway, I have a few. So I want to run through some stories with you guys. This is the one that gets me. The market's down 9% in the past 5 days. Is it now the right time to buy? And I'm thinking, are you fucking kidding me? Like, these people don't understand why it's down, right? You have inflation on the dollar. What? So you're going to buy it because it's being inflated. It didn't go away. Now the Fed's going to not keep going with the interest rates. Are they going to keep going? They have their Jackson Hole meeting. So now the attention's away from BRICS into the Jackson Hole, like BRICS didn't happen and doesn't mean anything. And I don't know what he's going to do with interest rates. I don't really give a fuck because it doesn't matter. It's not going to do anything about inflation. But people think because something drops, it should go up. It should go up. If you understand why it dropped, so let's look at the Utah game. Spread was 9.5. Rising's not playing. It goes 7.5 down to 4.5. Would you now bet Utah? Well, the reason it went down was Rising. We don't know if he's playing. Let's assume he doesn't play. Well, why would I bet Utah if the reason it went down was Rising, unless it went down too much, which is my belief, is, hey, I get Utah and 1.5, and I think their second team quarterback can win the game by handing the ball off, and Florida's not going to score on this defense. So there is a point where why did it go down was Rising, and then at what point do you start betting Utah? So just because something drops, you've got to know the reason something's dropped in order to buy it on the rebound. And I hate when people think, well, it went down, so it's going to come back up. What the fuck is that? That doesn't mean anything. Is it over? Is what over, G? Football? No, I'm still. I teach a lot here, so please feel free to ask. What else would you like to know? We went through the games, and I gave the free game, Army, Texas, and we talked about your units. So again, it's a 7 unit doesn't mean you bet $25 a unit to bet $175 on it. It's what do you bet a 7 unit and a 9 unit game? Maybe that's $25. Maybe the 15 unit game is $75. Maybe the locks are $100. But I wouldn't necessarily go per unit. I'm just trying to, when I put units down, I'm putting the strength down. I like it. It's 7 units. It's 9 units. I really like it. It's 11 or 15 units. I love it. It's a lock. It's 20 units. So I would base it on those 3 categories. As you're building your bankroll, it's 25, it's 50, it's 100, and not necessarily 7 units times your per unit. I don't think I would do that. I don't really do that. I just kind of feel it, and then I like it, I love it, boom. That's what I do. So let me know if you have any other questions. The class isn't over, and it's just a matter of what we're talking about. But they did ask about BRICS, so I'm just doing some economics now. Tesla faces yet another price war as EV company Lucid is slashing. See, they're missing the whole point with these electric cars, and I hate that Tesla's in the fucking news every goddamn day about doing something. So what neither of these companies understand is, and Toyota does get this because I watched the Toyota video. What is the market saying? The market is saying we don't want electric cars. They're too expensive. We're worried about the charge, da-da-da-da-da. Apparently, the battery weighs like 1,000 pounds, so it's killing the roads because the car's so heavy, and the tires. No, it's killing the tires and it's killing the roads because you can't have regular tires with all that weight of the engine, and the engine doesn't keep. And the insurance companies, if you ding it, are saying fuck it, they don't want to repair them. So there's no demand, and nobody wants it anyway. And where's the charging station? So we've listed all these reasons. So Tesla is trying to sell something there's no demand for. So that goes right to Say's law number 1. If you don't like Japanese food, I can't sell it. If you do, I can. So the question is there a market? That's the first question you got to understand if you're going into business. Is there a market for it? And there's no market for electric vehicles. There is a market for gas-powered vehicles, as they sell 16 million of them a year. But they found the price points, and there's gas stations, and there's roads, and there's tires, and everything's there, and the car insurance. But electric, nobody wants them. it's too much too soon. Nobody wants it. Nobody wants. They know batteries fail. They know, I got to find a charging station. It's just all bullshit. And so when Tesla has a price war, there's no price war. You can't sell the car because there's no freaking market for it. So it's simple economics, as I always talk. Okay, BRICS. So I got this. BRICS leaders convene on financial strategy. Russian President Putin, during a virtual address at the BRICS summit, proclaimed that the process of moving away from the dollar is irreversible and is currently gaining pace. So, to quote both Luke and Bobby, this is where he's saying there's going to be a gold-backed system, right? The process of moving away from the dollar is irreversible, meaning we are moving away from it. And the only move away from it is to have a gold-backed currency. So this is Putin at the summit saying, look, there's no way we're not getting away from the dollar. And we all know the only way to get away from the dollar is to have a gold-backed currency. So he's saying, this is what we're doing. And I'm Putin, and I'm running this fucking thing, and we're going to have a gold-backed currency. So in a sense, is what he's saying is not what you guys are hearing, because this is on a this is a written thing I got off of one of these BRICS things, right? The summit saw leaders, come together, discuss various global strategies, Yeah. That the push for alternative currencies is driven more by practical consideration rather than ethical reasons. So they're telling you they're coming out with a gold-backed currency. It's irreversible, and it's more for practical consideration because they're inflating the dollar and they're bankrupting us, and they got sanctions on me and sanctions on China, and OPEC wants it, or Saudi Arabia is now in, and Iran's now in. Iran's going to do whatever Russia was. Saudi Arabia wants to take a gold-backed currency for oil. They don't want dollars. These countries are smart that they realize the dollar's inflated. So they don't want to get paid in dollars. They don't want to buy our debt because we'll never pay them back. So they don't want to deal in dollars. So when he makes this comment, it's irreversible and is currently gaining pace. What he's really saying, you got to read between the lines, is we're going to a gold-backed currency if they like it or not. Fuck all of them. Luke, it seems as if the spot price of manipulation will never end. Well, it will. If you're on the Titanic, you hit the iceberg, but wait, we didn't sink yet. We're sinking, but we didn't sink yet. So it actually lasted 2 hours. Should have lasted 7 or 8, but it hit the bolts at the welds, the iceberg, and that's why it sunk so quickly. But I noticed it was up like $25. It's back into the 1920s or something. Silver went all the way up to 24. They're starting to go up. And I knew they would because of the summit. Now we'll hear the Jackson Hole stuff. But really, it's got nothing to do with the dollar getting stronger or interest rates or any of that shit, because it doesn't compete with that. That's like saying my Mantle card, if the dollar's stronger, my Mantle card's going to go down in value. It has nothing to do with it. It's an asset. Gold's an asset. Gold has a value because it's an asset. It's not competing with the dollar. The dollar could never compete with gold. So all that is just bullshit. Well, the dollar's stronger against the yen and the euro. Who gives a fuck? They're all inflated. They're all going to zero. So we're stronger than the other shit. It's like saying Nebraska's stronger than Rutgers. Well, yeah, but neither of them are any good. And that's really the U.S. dollar is not any good. This sentiment stems from concerns about how reliance on a single global dominant currency might be exploited for political agendas, while demands for lessening the dollar's global dominance aren't novel. Recent geopolitics dynamics escalated seriously between the West and powerhouses like Russia and China. So there you have it. Right here, he's saying we're going to gold. It's irreversible. Putin saying this in an address at the BRICS summit, proclaimed the process of moving away from the dollar is irreversible. He can't say gold standard any better than he just said it. I'm done with him. Then they make a comment about, well, are they going to go to a dollar back with crypto or gold? And they're saying crypto, which crypto would be chosen? None of them have proven particularly useful in international transactions. Then I see where North Korea is about to dump 3 million Bitcoins on the market. This is my point. They can basically attack on Wall Street you and say the real estate market, oops. They can't do that with gold. Nobody can dump 3 million gold ounces of real gold. What's happening with gold is they are dumping the paper gold, but we all know that's bullshit and that's not real. We're dealing in physical gold. So that's what they're kind of trying to do with gold, is dumping the paper on us, and we're going, well, we don't want anything to do with that. But we understand that. Now here, this is an interesting one. Millennials view Bitcoin the way boomers see gold. And we never thought millennials had a brain in their head anyway. These are people born after 1984. So why don't they like gold? And why do they think Bitcoin's the answer? They have no idea. This is the way millennials think. They don't know what they're doing. All right, so that's what I got there. We're looking at Pro this weekend. We'll get a little better understanding who they're starting and everything else. Well, they're going to manipulate the spot price as long as they can because they make money on it because it's fixed. But eventually the price is going to go up too high and they won't be able to. Bad internet breaking up. Sorry about that. Let's go silver. Okay, better now. Okay, good. Yeah, I notice sometimes it's slow motion or my mouse doesn't work and it tends to get going. But no, it looks pretty good from my view. Yeah, Bobby, silver's going to go. I think the better point of view to look at it now is I can still, it's $24 an ounce spot. I can get it for $28 an ounce at the coin store. And I think that's what you have to look at, is it's still available at this price. And that's what you have to look at. But you just have to be patient with it, that it's very cheap. Not, well, when's it going to go up? I mean, that's like buying, be glad you're not in Disney stock. You just have to understand it, which is what I teach you. You understand it's an asset. You understand it's real money. And more importantly, you understand that this is bullshit, right? So if you understand this is bullshit, so are stocks. And that's why I showed you Egon the other day. The only thing that you can't be in paper, and gold and silver are the only thing that's going to protect you. So you're really at this stage buying protection. So you're getting out of this buying protection. So if your mindset is that, don't worry. Be happy the price is low because you can keep buying it. But it ain't going to stay there much longer. Now, BRICS, I just read you, Putin saying we're going to gold standard. But he couldn't say gold standard. He just said it's imminent. We're getting away from the dollar. That's what he's saying. So you got to be smart enough to understand that means gold. and we'll see what McGuire and over the weekend, Alligator and Egon say about it. I'm catching a lot. Well, the one I showed you the other day, what Egon did 2 days ago, 3 days ago. So we just don't have the BRICS, but it's every bit what we thought. They added 6 new members, so that's positive. And mostly they audit Saudi Arabia, who has all the oil. So guess who has all the oil? Russia, Saudi Arabia. Who's in BRICS? Russia, Saudi Arabia. Then you got China. Believe me, they're going to a gold-backed currency. Believe me, they're not going to listen to India. India. Oh, what'd you say, India? Nah, we don't understand Indian. Get out of here. Gotta go, TK. Can you send me a 3 teaser? Well, you got 2 of them. So you got Army and Texas. I can send you a 3rd. We can do that. Anyway, so it's just we're waiting for gold and silver to go up, right? That's what we're waiting for. We know it's going to happen. We know BRICS, they're gonna push it up and basically blow up COMEX, because they can play this stupid little game with paper, but if it's selling for 10,000 an ounce with the BRICS countries and you're trying to sell it for 2,000, they'll buy all yours for 2 and sell it for 10. How long is that going to last? Plus, wouldn't you want to get 10,000 for it? So why would you sell it for 2? See, that's the trigger, right? BRICS comes in and Russia and China say, you know what? We need gold at 1,000 an ounce because we got to cover how much money, right? So why would you sell it for 2,000 when it's going for 10? Why would I sell this for $5 when it goes for 80 at the grocery store? Oh, I'll give it to you for 5. Well, I give it to you for 5 when I know I could get 80 for it. So if I can get 10,000 an ounce for it, why would I sell it at 2,000? That's why COMEX will blow up, because they can't possibly keep playing this ridiculous, stupid game that's highly illegal, that everybody fucking knows is highly illegal. For Saturday or 9-2, well, yeah, I can give you. Well, the Army Texas game is 9-2. So I'll give you a game on that weekend. I do have this weekend if you want. You can buy week 1, would cover everything, all these games week 1. We can talk about that if you want. Did you email me? Send me an email or something. So that's what prevents it, right? See, the way to kill a monopoly is competition. So right now, COMEX, JP Morgan has a monopoly on printing dollars and keeping the gold price down, them in London. But they're done. London has huge inflation. We have huge inflation. Don't let them fool you by saying, oh, it's 3%. Where is it 3%? Coke is still $2 for a 2-liter. Oreos are $5 for a $2 pack. How the fuck is inflation 3%? What are you looking at? So, I mean, that's the whole issue. They can tell you the sky is green, but we all know it's blue. So we don't listen to the government, as Egon has told us also. I bought it, but I don't know how I want to team them together. Okay. I'll email you when I'm done. Don't worry, you got time. Thanks for the purchase, but yeah, I'll send you an email. Whatever you want to do, we'll figure it out. Can't wait to see that COMEX blow up. What I can't wait to see is Bill Gates and Warren Buffett and Zuckerberg go to zero, because they're too arrogant to understand gold, and they're too and all their money is going to turn to zero. These are idiots on the Titanic going, we're not going to sink. We can't sink. We're unsinkable. Yeah, but the water is like coming into the ballroom and on the, and can't you feel the boat kind of going down, and it's in the hallways, and the Zuckerbergs are going, oh no, we're not gonna, there's no problem. Well, you can get in the lifeboat. No, there's no problem. Okay, G, good night and take care. I will email you shortly. Well, that's what I like. I can't wait to see Buffet. What pisses me off about Buffet is he comes across like the greatest investor in the world. He doesn't invest at all. All he does is buy 1 million shares of Disney and 1 million shares of Coke and 1 million shares of Apple. That's all he does. Oh, what a great! How the fuck could you find those? Oh my God! Look at what a wizard you are to find those stocks and buy 1 million shares. I keep wanting to quote my cousin Vinny for some reason. I keep watching it. It's on Tubi, so I keep wanting to quote Vinny. But that's what I can't wait is, why is Buffet such a good investor? What does he do? He conned everybody to make money in life insurance or whatever insurance, which is the biggest scam in the world. And then he buys 1 million shares of Disney, when Disney was profitable, and Coke and Apple. And now he's a great investor, and everybody wants to know what he's in, until he buys GM. And then I bitch at him because you don't buy cars now. And this is what shows you how stupid that Tesla guy is, Elon Musk. Only an idiot would try to sell cars in this market with high interest rates and high inflation. And not only a car, which Toyota can't sell their cars, but an electric car that there's no demand for. So you think Musk is smart and he's doing this shit? He's not smart. He has no fucking clue. They're just trying to sell electric cars. I don't know why anybody would buy one. I have no good reason there. It's absolutely ridiculous. Bobby, it's been going around the internet that crypto will have the next bull run next year. They mentioned a Bitcoin having that will be followed by prices increasing into a big bull run. They don't want to talk about gold, do they? Just Alligator and Egon want to talk about it. So I would ask you why, and I just told you North Korea is going to sell like 3 million Bitcoin. That's got to lower the price. The question is why? We know it's not money. Would you rather have gold or a Bitcoin? I'd rather have gold. It's not even a thought because I don't know what Bitcoin is. It ain't money, and it's certainly not gold. And who knows why the prices go up? People will get out of money. Are they all going to go into Bitcoin? So the banks start collapsing, which I just showed you last show that 6 banks were collapsing, were downgraded, and another 5 were going. And then Katie barred the door. Now the banks are going under, so people pull their money. And people are what? I can buy gold or I can buy Bitcoin. Why would you buy Bitcoin? What's going to make Bitcoin's price go up? I'm not sold on. I'd rather buy the Mantle card or the Montana rookie or the Rice rookie or that Willie Mays card for $75,000 than buy Bitcoin. But I'd rather buy gold over those because it's actual money. I can go buy a house with gold. Can you buy a house with Bitcoin? So let's just get it down to the naked truth. I come to your house, Bobby, you need money. All right, Bobby, here's 2 ounces of gold, or here's 2 Bitcoins. What are you going to take for your house or your car, or you need money? What would you take? Why would you take Bitcoin? First of all, do you even have a Bitcoin account? Secondly, what are you going to do with it? Can you sell it? And what are you going to get for it? There's no money. Or you get gold, which is money and has a much bigger value, and it's demanded all over the world. So I could get on a plane and go to Switzerland and meet Egon for lunch and say, here's a couple ounces of gold, cash me in. You think he's going to do that with Bitcoin? Who are you going to go with Bitcoin? So just look at the basics. What would you rather have? I mean, it's very obvious gold. Now, does Bitcoin run? Who gives a fuck? I'm not watching it. I'm not touching it. It's not real money. It's certainly not gold. I'm not sure it's an asset. And it's just talked to by people that own it that want it to go up. And nobody can tell you why. Did they give you a reason? See, so when you get a reason why it's going up, other than because, then I will listen. I will be open-minded about it, but I've analyzed it and I have no value in it. It doesn't add a value. There's no way I would buy it because there's no purpose in it. What am I going to do with it? I don't even accept it. You can't even pay for Teaserking with it. So I really don't know. They mentioned a Bitcoin halving that will be followed by price increases into a big bull run. Was that like a stock split? You think every stock split, the stock goes up? No, it just means there's more shares outstanding. Two good thing is I noticed metals and crypto have been trending in the same direction against the dollar. So silver and gold should fly if that's the case. Well, silver and gold are flying, but they keep printing the paper, so we're not seeing it. Like I said, we don't really see that the price of this is 2 cents. Now, we've heard Egon say it's lost 98% of its value since 1971, since they took it off of gold. But you don't really can't identify that. All you can see is that Coke that was 25 cents in 71 is now, for a 2-liter, is now $3. That's all you can see to measure it. But you can't really, like, a hamburger was 25 cents, is now $7, $8 at a restaurant. It's $13 at it's $10 at a Big Boy for a fucking hamburger. And if you get the double, it's $13. $13. I just made 10 hamburgers. I bought 3 pounds at my meat grocery store that's a little more expensive at, I want to say it was 5 something a pound. I think it was $18 for 3 pounds. I made 10 hamburgers and I put them in my omelets and I ate them. So if I take 10 hamburgers and I go to let's go to McDonald's. What are they, $6, $7 for a hamburger? So it would have cost me $60 for what cost me 18. And I cooked them healthy with olive oil and my garlic and my pepper and no crap in it, no vegetable oil. So again, you're not seeing a clear way that this is only worth 2 cents, except for me showing you. But but in gold, you can see the move, but then we realize it's paper gold. So don't worry about it. You're out of this. This is your first concern. Get the fuck out of this. And you are getting out of it. And then your next thing is, okay, now Egon said on his show that I showed you the other day, it hasn't even started yet. People haven't even realized that the gold avalanche is not even started, and it's about to. And now Russia and China, believe me, I read you that piece from Putin. There's irreversible that we're going to stay with the US dollar, which means we're going to a gold-backed currency. That's exactly what he said, and that's exactly what he means. They couldn't just say, well, they might have said gold, but you're never going to see it on YouTube because they won't allow it. Luke, the crypto exchanges can collapse. Yeah, I was reading something else where they were collapsing, or some guy was selling it. Like I said, North Korea is selling 3 million Bitcoins. I'm sure that's good for the price. Coinbase froze me from depositing US dollars from my bank, and they stopped you from depositing funds, Bobby. When did that happen, Luke? Luke, I got out my funds and bought gold. Some came today. I remember that. That was like a month ago. Yeah, just about a month ago. It's under review, they say. So it stopped you from buying crypto. No, it stopped him from getting his money. So again, anything to do with the government and the bank We don't want anything to do with them. That's the 88th reason to buy gold and silver. One, they can't print it, right? They can't all of a sudden put paper gold. If I'm holding an ounce of gold, I'm going to the coin store tomorrow. I'm supposed to get paid today, I'll get paid tomorrow. So I'll go in there, and if I have it, I give him money. I give him this useless piece of crap. He gives me, I walk out with gold, and nobody can fuck me. They can't do a crypto on me. They can't say, we're freezing your account. I'm not in an account. That's the hidden beauty of gold and silver. Nobody can fuck you, and you're off your radar. You're not going to pay interest income on it because nobody knows you have it. You'll pay a 1099 maybe, if depending on what it is. If it's US, maybe not. If it's silver and it's under 10,000, maybe not. My gold, I'm going to go see Egon and try to cash it in there and not pay a 1099. So we will see everything that they're doing, but we're off the radar, and they can't freeze us. They can't say, nope, you can't get it out. You can't use US dollars. I'm going to the store. I'm giving him money. He's giving me the gold. I walk out, and nobody can fuck with me. So, I mean, you give me a reason to own crypto, Bobby, which you can't, and I'll give you 1,000 reasons to own gold and silver, which I can, and I do regularly. No, Bobby, he sold his crypto to get gold. That's what he was doing. And it stopped him from getting some of his funds out. They wouldn't let him get his funds out. They wouldn't let me deposit or buy any crypto. They did let me, you could withdraw. So, fuck it, who needs that? And what's the point? And who's to determine the value? You could get like that one guy did where he fucked everybody over. We haven't seen the Madoff movie. I watched it the other day, the Madoff on Netflix. And you got to realize JP Morgan was involved. The SEC was involved. All these people are involved with the scam. Money talks, right? Okay, JP Morgan, here's $1 million. And they said, fine, we won't say a word. SEC, how much did they pay them? What, 5-10 million a piece? And they shut up. This is the problem you have dealing with the grid. You want to be off grid because the grid takes this healthy dollar and turns it into 2 cents. That's what the grid does. That's what the government does, the public. They can't do it to gold and silver. They can do it to crypto and everything else. And then all these people, again, I watch Madoff, and again, I just sit there and I quoting you, Bobby, shake my head going, what did you think was going to happen? Did you think I don't know how he's doing it, but I get $1,000 a month, and you don't think that it's a scam? Nobody else can do that. It's like me picking 100% football. It's impossible. The only way I can do it is give you the picks after the games are over. Then I could do pretty well, but we don't do that here, right? So, I mean, how anybody could possibly hit 100% of his action, him buying and selling stocks, is fucking, you got to be out of your mind to trust that. So that's my point. You've got to be smart. You've got to understand it, which you do. And then, but they can't fuck you in gold and silver. Yes, don't worry. It's going to go way up because once people get Madoff and start understanding it's a Ponzi scheme, crypto's a Ponzi scheme, the dollar's a Ponzi scheme, the euro's they're all Ponzi schemes. They're all printing and devaluing it, and it's worth nothing. You get $100 or 100 euros, and it's worth $2. And now you're just used to it. You go to a restaurant, it's $20 for a hamburger and a salad, and you just accept that. But it used to be $2 for a hamburger and a salad. But you can't put 2 and 2 together. So you don't realize that the value of your 20 is the same as it used to be for $2. That's where they get you because you don't realize it. Even gold, that's why I keep saying with gold at 2,000 an ounce is a joke, because it's not. I was glad to see it finally went up $20, and I'm waiting. Okay, here we go. It was sitting at 18 something, and now it's back to 19 and a quarter. And I'm sitting there going, here we go. It's, I'm waiting. I go, it's BRICS, and then Jackson Hole won't help us. But it'll be a deflection from Putin saying it's irreversible. We're not staying on the U.S. currency. So that's what we're looking at. So to me, he said his thing, Putin. And of course, the U.S. process and cover. That's why I asked Daria, what are they talking about BRICS and gold? What's BRICS talking about with gold? Believe me, in Russia, they're saying, fuck the U.S., we're going on the gold standard. And again, I can't meet her because the U.S. can't go to Russia. I says, we got to meet. I have no idea when the war is going to end. I mean, this war might end in 10 years. I'm not waiting 10 years for it. So this is definitely the problem. So maybe she has more information, but I mean, we can't go wrong. It's the biggest lock I can give you is gold and buy gold and silver. And it's a bargain. Why would those prices not go up when there's inflation and Oreo cookies and Cheerios are going up, but gold and silver isn't? Why would silver still be at $25? Just use logic. Why would it not go up if the dollar is worthless? Why isn't silver going up? Because it's price fixed, which we know, and then it's when it breaks. Now, do we think it'll never break? Well, then I'm telling you it will as soon as the competition comes in. So since we've had a monopoly is why it hasn't broken, right? Russia, China couldn't do anything. Now they have. Now they're able, and now they brought in 6 new countries. So now there's competition, and nobody wants the U.S. dollar. So you can easily read that. Well, the competition will break up the COMEX. That's what it'll do it. Right now, it's been a monopoly, and it's been to keep the dollar to stay away from the dollar. So they're saying it's not worth anything. So the millennials don't have a clue because they haven't been taught Austrian economics. So they sit there and go, well, we can't buy gold. The only thing we can buy is Bitcoin. But we don't know why it goes up or down, and we don't understand anything about it. And it's really North Korea and Russia and China buying Bitcoin. Look what China does. They got 60,000 tons of gold. And now what? Russia's got 32,000 tons. And they just keep taking it out of the ground and minting it and putting it in Putin's swimming pool. I mean, this is what they're doing there. They get it. And the more it stays cheap, the more they don't really, I don't know if they buy it or not. I would imagine, they're both currencies are fucked. When it first started happening, the war, when I would give Daria money, it was like 60, a dollar bought you 60 rubles. I gave her like last week, a dollar gave her 100 rubles. So it was good because the prices haven't gone up there. They're not inflating. Their inflation's very low, actually. It's like 2 or 3%. So when she gets more money from me, it's great because she can buy more because the prices aren't going up because there's no inflation there. That's the one thing Putin does understand. So that's what you have. Bobby, I feel the same way about my property, Professor. I wonder when I don't want to wait 10 years to get a deal. I wonder why I don't want to wait. Well, because you just got to understand it. It's you got to be confident enough and intelligent enough to realize, like, this is why I say we know this hit the iceberg. We know it has. So we just got to be patient for the boat to sink and the gold boat to arrive. And that's what we understand why. So that's what I try to really articulate is why. I'm telling you this is gone because they printed it. It's not backed by anything. If this was backed by gold, you could print all you want, it wouldn't matter. But because it's not backed by anything, every currency in the history of life that wasn't backed by anything, including the Romans, the French, the Spanish, the British in 1900s, all their currencies went out. So because they all went out and all of them have failed, that's my point. So I can't make it any more like, look, you can only print so much until it goes to zero. And then we use Germany in 1923 when they printed 1 billion marks a day and they were using it for, they needed a wheelbarrow because it had no value. So that's the point. It has no value because when you print it, it's like a Topps baseball card. You know, the Barry Sanders Pro Set rookies, $150 versus the Montana's $100,000. Barry's probably a better player, but you printed so much of his fucking cards that they're not worth anything. So it's the more you print, the less worth. That's why the Willie Mays card, 75,000, because how many PSA 10s 1968 Willie Mays can there be? 20, 50? There's not a lot of them out there. Very limited, got a high value. That Brady card I showed you, $8 million. There's only 10 of them. So the more limited something is, the more the value because it's scarce. Well, the dollar is not scarce. When you print 10, 15 trillion of them, they're not scarce. And that's exactly what they did. Now, if we go to work and we get paid, that's not inflation, right? So I go to work, I get paid, I go buy Bobby's tennis shoes. It's perfect. That's not inflation. When the government just turns on the printing press and we'll give money to Ukraine, we'll give Social Security, we'll give this, we'll give that, and they just send out money, that's the inflation part of it. So that's the problem. So they go and print Biden, wow, we'll print 10 trillion here and 10 trillion there. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Why would you inflate the dollar? What the fuck? So, they're blowing up the country for some reason. I think the nationalists, the Zuckerbergs and the Gates and the Buffetts own, like, Facebook is all over the world. So he doesn't understand he's an American businessman, thinks a world businessman. Then he starts thinking, oh, wait, I can do this whole world thing. I'll control the world, like Pinky in their brain. And that's what he wants to do, is control the whole world, not understanding he's an American. And that's the problem with this internet and all these IT programmer nerds who don't have a fucking clue about economics. And so they don't get what they're doing. And then let's get rid of the borders and let's destroy America. We'll just have a world thing. But Russia doesn't want to play. China doesn't want to play. Japan doesn't want to play. Europe, some of them don't want to play. Poland doesn't. So Switzerland doesn't. So then you're getting kickback. And once the people in the U.S. fucking wake up, then they don't want to play. And it's run by George Soros. He's like 95 years old, and he's giving all his money to his kid who's 38. And I hear, well, he's not like George. Well, we'll see. But George was a Nazi, so the kid probably grew up, rich, so he won't know the difference. Hopefully he takes a lot of drugs and alcohol like Biden's kid, and he won't know what day it is. But that's what it is. So you've just got to read it. Like, how do we develop our football picks? The defense, the quarterback. Hopefully we got a good coach. Sean Payton goes to Denver. I'm like, hey, let's bet on Denver. They got Sean Payton now. They got Russell Wilson, will be a lot better. They'll have the defense. They'll play like they did at New Orleans, and you could make a lot of money on them. That's what you see. So you have what you're looking for. And so in money, it's if you print it and it's not backed by anything, that's the key. And you print 10 trillion now, okay, I'm buying gold. I don't worry about the price of gold going up. I know it will, Maybe takes a year, maybe two, but I'm not worried about it. And the longer it stays low, what do? Bobby asks me every week, you're under the coin store. And my answer, and I show you here, I bought these 2 ounces. I bought this 10 ounces of silver. I go buy, where else am I going to put my money? In the fucking bank and then worry about getting it out as they do the bank runs and the banks fail? And 5 more banks are now downgraded, and look for them to go out and then, try to get your money out of it. So, I mean, this is the problem. You look at that and you start realizing there's nowhere to go. There's no other currency to go into. There's nothing else but gold. And it'll go up. I'm not worried about it. And then that's why I show you Alligator and Egon. And they sit there and go, yeah, it's going to go through the moon. But nobody can give you a time. But you got to know that you're right. You know you're right. You know it's going to go up. Then here rolls a BRICS thing. And here's Putin saying, we're not staying in U.S. dollars. And the Saudis aren't staying in U.S. dollars. And the Chinese want to settle in yuan. So now all of a sudden we don't want the U.S. They want to go to war. Fuck them. And that's what you got. So now you've got the analytical point of, we've got our players. We've got our competition away from the dollar. And the only thing that can survive is gold, because of another dollar without backed by gold, we're all going to get fucked anyway. So you know that's going to happen. I get this error on my screen. Okay. That's my ginger water. So it's a water with ginger in it, cinnamon in it, a little bit of honey, and lemon. And I just mix it up into this big pitcher now. And you can see this, the bottom is the ginger, and then the chunks are the cinnamon, and I just got to shuffle them up and everything. But I haven't had green tea in a while. I've been more with the ginger tea. You think Texas will be an over team this year? I don't know. It depends on their defense. What makes an over team? You got a good quarterback. They got 2. You have to be a passing offense, and you have to have a bad defense. So USC is an over. UCLA is an over. I don't think Utah's an over because they have a great defense, so they're going to win 40-0, which is not going to be an over. Texas depends on their defense. We will see. We got Rice. I think that'll be a very high-scoring game, Texas against Rice, because I think Texas puts up 50 and Rice doesn't score. Will they get over? The over-under is 58.5. Probably, but it's going to be all Texas. But I might as well lay the 29, knowing Texas is going to bring in Manning and he'll put up another 20. So it probably goes over, but I don't. Rice has no defense, but Texas has a defense. They did last year, so I don't know if they do this year, but I would stick with Iowa and Iowa State being an under and Georgia being an under. And, these teams with the really strong defenses, just play them under. And the teams like USC, UCLA, you just play them over. Washington. The teams with the really good quarterbacks. Notre Dame, I don't know if they'll be an over. You got Hartman, but they have a good defense. Now, I think they'll be over against Ohio State. I'm waiting for that line, and I'm waiting to see the new quarterback for Ohio State. But if he's anything decent, he'll probably put up 40 points on Indiana. But if he's anything decent, I'm loving that over in the Ohio State-Notre Dame game, because Ohio State has no defense anymore. Hartman will light them up, but I don't know that Notre Dame can stop Ohio State either, which makes it a 70-point game. The over-run will be in the 50s. So I'm waiting on that game. And then the same thing with Notre Dame, USC. That we know is going to hit 100, because they're not going to stop USC, and I don't think USC is going to stop Hartman. So, again, it goes to the quarterback. Just let Hartman do his thing, which is why we got upset at Miami. They didn't let Van Dyke do his thing. And all of a sudden he didn't, I don't think he threw 20 touchdowns. Terrible coaching, but they brought in a new air raid type of coach to coach the offense. I wish they would have went with the Army offense coordinator. That guy looks great. The UCLA Coastal over looks nice. The UCLA quarterback will do. Well, they got the one guy from Kent State, but I'm not too worried about UCLA because of the coach. So when you got a coach like TCU or Tennessee, Josh Heupel, like Tennessee, I'm never worried about their quarterbacks not lighting it up. I'm more worried about their defense. But he knows how to coach them. The TCU, Sonny Dykes, knows how to coach offense, and so does the UCLA coach, Chip Kelly. He knows how to get his quarterback. Look what he did at Oregon. Look what he did with Mariota, who sucks. So he knows how to offensive coach. So I'm not really worried about UCLA Coastal going over because I think Coastal puts up 40 on them with McCall. So you look at McCall. How are they going to stop McCall? They're not, which means UCLA is going to have to put up points, but Coastal doesn't have a good defense either. That's why if this is UCLA Georgia, they probably get shut out like Oregon did against Georgia, right? 49-3 because they couldn't move on Georgia. And that's kind of what you have. But with Coastal, they don't have a defense. So the quarterback should be okay. Same thing with Ohio State. We'll see how good he is, but he's not going to have trouble against Indiana. He might have trouble against Notre Dame, and he might have trouble against Michigan's defense. And if he plays Penn State and Minnesota and Illinois, teams with good defenses, then you'll see what kind of quarterback he is. But we're not going to learn anything about Ohio State's quarterback or Alabama's this week. But when Ohio State plays Notre Dame in a few weeks, and if they get Wisconsin, I think, then you're going to see how he does against the good. Then you can say, yes, he's good or he's bad. And the same thing with Alabama. I'm loving it, man. Give me Texas and 14 points against Alabama with this new quarterback. No fucking way is this guy going to be ready for Texas. And Texas has revenge on their mind, and now they got their quarterback and Arch Manning. So even if he got hurt in the game last year, Ewing, the Texas quarterback, if he don't get hurt, they beat him badly because they only lost by 2 on a late field goal by Alabama. So let's see. Luke, going to watch the Steelers preseason game. Well, enjoy it, Luke. Is Swan and Stallworth and Franco playing? I love that. I love watching the old Steeler games. I like Bama, Texas week 2 over if it's under 7. Yeah, it probably will be because everybody thinks Bama's got a good defense. I think I like Texas in the points if it's a Alabama minus 10. I think I like if I can get Texas over 14. I think I like that. See, and that's what you do is you look at the game and you make your own decision. You make your own line. All right, if I get Texas in 14, Alabama's quarterback's not that good. Texas has a good quarterback, and they got Manning and pretty good offense. They're a pretty good team. And I get 14. They're going to be pissed off they lost last year. That's what I'm looking for. Now, if the line comes out 20, I'm all set. If it comes out at 7, then I got work on it. But because it's Bama, it'll be at least 10. And then, like you said, the over-under, well, it's a little early. You've got to see. I'm not worried about Texas scoring, but Bama, their quarterback sucks. So you've got to realize that you might be better off taking Texas because there's no way Alabama's going to kill them than going over with the game. You don't have a good quarterback on Alabama this year. That you have to realize he's not that good. Now you'll see him against Middle Tennessee. You're not going to learn anything. Yeah, they'll get their 40, 50 points. But, Alabama's defense is not what it used to be. It is not Georgia's defense. That's for sure. I don't think it's Kentucky's got a better defense. So keep that in mind. But that's what I'm like. South Alabama, Tulane. I like the dog there because it's A versus A. I know Tulane's got a good quarterback, as does South Alabama. They went to UCLA, lost 32-31, so they traveled. And it's a very good, but that's where we differ is I like the dog in LSU, Florida State, and you're leaning to LSU, and you're playing with fire because you're playing against a very good in a neutral site. It's not at Baton Rouge, and it ain't Saturday night. So, yeah, you're playing with your heart there. I get it, but I can't pick that game like that. I don't sit there and go, oh yeah, LSU is much better. I don't like their quarterback, as you know, and I do like Florida State, and I think both defenses, and I think it's an under game. But in South Alabama, Tulane, I think it's much more of a take the dog, like maybe North Carolina, South Carolina, you take the dog. So we will see. But that's what you try to learn week one. Ohio State's quarterback, Alabama's quarterback. These are unknowns. Now, UTSA, we know, and Houston, we have no idea. Houston's got a new quarterback, Swidet, where UTSA's Frank Harris, and supposedly they got another real strong running back. Keep in mind, that's San Antonio, so they got the Texas recruiting. They're well coached. They are a very good team, UTSA. Wisconsin, what is there? We know what Mordecai is good at SMU. We don't know. Now, he did bring some receivers over, so we got to see what Wisconsin. I think Wisconsin, Buffalo does not have a good defense. So I think, but again, you're laying 26. Buffalo's not that bad. They're not like Akron, who's a Z or something like that. So that's what we have. So in 2 days, we got Notre Dame and Navy from Ireland. Hartman's inaugural start, and then UMass, New Mexico State, Ohio, San Diego State, Hawaii plays twice again, and so does Vandy, and San Jose State and USC play, and then they play the next week. So it's really screwy. They play like the 26th, and then on 9-2 they're playing after 5-6 days rest. Florida International and L Tech, and Kent State, UCF. Well, no, that's already 8:31. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you got 6 games on Saturday. I don't know what'll be I guess USC will be the night game and Notre Dame will be the afternoon game. And that's about all worth watching. Then on the 31st, it'll be Florida, Utah, I guess Nebraska, Minnesota. Well, that's a Friday. And then that's Thursday. And then Friday is not much there. Central and Michigan State, boring. Miami, we'll see Van Dyke. Louisville should have a good offense this year. And then Stanford, Hawaii, we'll get a chance to see how Hawaii does against Vanderbilt. And then we go to 9-2 with the full bucket. We got Army in Texas then. Notre Dame is at 2:30 and New Mexico State game is at 7:30. Yeah, I can't understand. See, this blows my mind why that line is 7. It's a 14-point line for sure. I mean, it's New Mexico State should win comfortably. UMass has no team, and New Mexico State's got Pavia, and he's playing really well. He did at the end of the last year. They got Jerry Kill, who used to coach Minnesota. They got a good coach and they're way better than UMass. I don't get who in the fuck is betting on UMass to knock the line from 9 to 7. That's where you get into the algorithms. People that don't know what they're doing are betting these games because it's over 7, and they're looking, and an algorithm says take UMass because they're getting more than 7, and people are actually stupid enough to bet them because of that. Oh, I'll take it more than 7. Now we are extra careful because we played teasers. Okay, I'll take New Mexico State down to 1. Fuck you. There's no way they're not winning the game by 20 points. So that's kind of what you're looking at is your, that's why you have to understand. And it's like anything, craps, poker, women, whatever we talk about, gold, stocks, you have to understand it so you can play it. You can't play craps if you don't understand how to play craps or poker or blackjack or understand women and try to figure them out. You can't do that. You got to understand what women like and how you talk to them and read the signs and go from there. So I got a flight for Jeddah on Saturday back to Warsaw from Berlin. What's good is it was only $220. It's insane. So I got her that. So she'll be home. I don't know if she'll be home Saturday. It's such a long drive, but her friend's got a car, so he's going to drive her back home. It's funny with her. She says, well, I was with a friend, me and Natasha, that's her friend in Berlin. We were out. We went for a walk with a friend, and then she'll say girl. So I know she's with a girlfriend. And I'm like, I don't care. I mean, just see, but that's what they like me. I just say, go have a good time. Did you have a good time? Fine. I don't care. I'm not gonna, I don't judge people and I don't control people. And it's good lessons to understand. USC games at 8. What are we getting? A whole schedule from you, Bobby? New Mexico State's at home too. Yes, I know that. I guess the Sharps are on UMass. Yeah, they're real Sharps. You taking a flight out there to Berlin? Yeah, probably in September. I probably would like to wait till like after I get that check. I'll get like my last Social Security second Monday of the month, which I think is the 8th. Then I get my paycheck, which I think is 2 weeks from today. So that's like the 8th or something. And then I want to go buy gold, and then I want to go. And if I'm in Berlin, I'm kind of fucked because I can't like go to the bank and then is there even gold stores in Berlin? I gotta, I don't really want to. Then I got to carry around 3-4 ounces of gold in Berlin. Is it going to be any cheaper? I got to get euros for it, which I really don't want to do. Maybe I can use the credit card. So there's a lot. I'd rather just wait, get the money, buy the gold, and then travel. So there was a lady here who got her car stolen. So I was and I think I told you the story the other day. No, I don't think I did. I just talked to a policeman yesterday at the gym at the rec center where the pool is. There's a cop. So I asked the cop, "What do you do with your car? How do you like prevent it from being stolen?" He says he really couldn't give me an answer. He just said, "Park it where the lights are. That's probably the best play where it's a lot of lights." Then he told me at U of M in Ann Arbor, they have a hospital. He says a car gets stolen out of the fucking, what do you call it? The parking garage, right? 4 or 5 levels. He says there's a car gets stolen once a month. How the fuck does anybody steal a car from the U of M hospital parking deck? I just couldn't believe it. And I says, well, what do you do with he says, now one advantage is very rarely will people in an apartment get stolen versus people in a house. Because I don't think you have any money in the apartment, but in the house, you could have money, right? You can afford a house. Then I said, well, when I go to the airport, last time I put some gold in my glove box and locked it, and I had some gold home. And I'm like, okay, this way, if something happens, I'll have something. And he says, well, when you're out in the public at a grocery store or at airport parking, he says, normally the thief will just lift the handle. And if the car's locked, he'll leave it alone. He's looking for one that's, he's lazy, as easy as possible. Or if you leave a computer or money or something on the seat, then you're asking for trouble. So if you just have your seats, there's nothing there, and you lock whatever in the glove box, and you lock your doors, you probably won't have a problem, because the point of view of the crook is to be lazy. That's why he's a crook. If he was, if he's a smart guy, if he put it to use, he's making money. You don't steal because you could lose your money. So only a lazy guy's a crook and he'll steal. So you just don't tap them. So he wants as easy as possible. Oh, the open window, or I just pull up on the handle and the door's open. Said he didn't think they would break the glass of the window if he doesn't see anything. He'd rather just open the door, or if he sees a computer, then he might break the glass for the computer. Otherwise, it isn't. So know that going forward, so you can put you can feel pretty safe with locking stuff up in your glove box, not keeping anything on the seats and keeping the car locked. That you should be okay. And the same thing in the house. I mean, hide your gold and silver. You should be okay. Maybe put an alarm sticker on your house. Again, they don't want to fuck with, they don't want to get caught. So if you understand the theory of the criminal, of the thief, he doesn't want to get caught, go to jail. Although in San Francisco, it doesn't matter because they don't prosecute you anyway. I don't know what's wrong with California. What a bunch of crazies. So that's what got me thinking, if I do fly to Berlin, I might leave some gold in the glove box and some gold here in the freezer, and we will see. But I think that is the one advantage of gold over silver. I can take 10 ounces and go meet Egon in Switzerland, and nobody's going to know, and they'll be in my pocket. Where, okay, you can put 10 ounces of silver, but let's say they're $2,000 an ounce. That's $20,000 versus $50,000 of gold times 10 is, I'm sitting on 500,000. So that's probably a good benefit of gold, is you can just keep it in your pocket. It is the gold standard, so it's always going to have the better value, but it's the affordability. How much can you buy with $2,000 an ounce versus $25 an ounce for silver? So that's why that's why I buy both, and I recommend, if you don't really have that much money, to buy the silver. I mean, just buy it and then assume 10-1, and your 10 ounces of silver buys you a $50,000 ounce of gold, that you've got now $5,000 an ounce silver. But keep in mind, the illusion that it doesn't have a value is strictly an illusion. The reality is it's much higher in price. So just understand that. Understand it's not at market price. So you'll do fine. By the way, how you like to fly? Sole seat, window seat, or professional, don't give a fuck? I really don't like the center seat. I would prefer the window or the aisle, I guess. When I fly to Europe, I prefer nobody next to me. Some of these flights you can just lay across the seats and do that. When I flew back from Barcelona, well, Luke was there. I got the seats, the emergency row, and there's nobody in front of you, and there's a lot of leg room, so I was able to stretch out. My back didn't really hurt me sitting for 7 hours. It hurt when I got up, but for that, now I know to do my stretches, so my back's a lot less painful than it's been. I'm able to walk. I went to the pool here. So my pool, the lab pool is closed. They're doing work on it, and then the whole rec center closes the 28th to the 1st. Not that big of a deal. So it'll be open next Thursday, I think, or next Friday. So it's not a problem. And then I have my pool here. I can do my running and my stretches. So overall, not too bad. But going to Europe, I probably want a seat where I'm nobody next to me and I can spread out and get up the stretch. Going to Vegas, I don't give a shit because it's 3.5 hour, 4 hour. I take nonstop Spirit from Detroit and go to sleep, or I'm looking at football games or something. So I don't let it bother me a 3 or 4 hour flight. So that's kind of what it is. But the way my back is, I'm fine sitting. It's more when I'm walking and it gets a little bit tender. I know I was talking to somebody and my back was killing me because I can't stand. I can walk or kind of bend when I'm talking to somebody and I'm not sitting, but I can't stand. If I just stand, my vertebrae compress. But if I can kind of lean or as long as I'm walking, I'm fine. I don't know why when I stand, but I can't do that. I was talking to the lady who got her car stolen. Now, she thought it was intentionally they went after her because she had a Jeep, which apparently is a very popular car to steal, and she had fancy trims on it. And she said somebody was monitoring her and the whole thing. I don't know, but they didn't take my car, so I was happy. But it's funny now that you told me I go out at midnight before I go to bed. Is my car there? When I get up, is my car there? And so far, it's been there. And I don't want to get a car stolen now. Then I'd have to buy a new one. And with these interest rates, I don't want to get into a car payment of $1,000 a month. For some reason, Bobby Bo gets a bit claustrophobic if not sitting in an aisle seat. Yeah, I could see that. You feel trapped if you got for sure the middle, but if you got the window and these seats are so small, I don't blame you, Bobby. I guess I would just pay a little bit for the aisle and just get up and walk around, go to the bathroom 10 times. I go to the back and ask them for a Coke or something. And do that. Now on the international flights, it's nice because they got movies. So you turn on a movie and you're absorbed with the movie. You don't realize it. Plus, going to Europe, it's dark. It's nighttime, so it's easier to go to sleep. But yeah, these seats are so small now, so they can get more people on it. That I can say I don't normally get claustrophobic on it. But I'll tend to read if I'm not going to Europe. If I'm going to Europe, I got the movies and I'll watch it until I fall asleep or just keep watching. Then it's always a battle because then you get there at 8 in, even though you haven't slept, and now you're real like Barcelona. I see Jenna at 8 in. I think it was Friday or Saturday morning. I think it was Friday morning. It was Friday morning. I think I left Thursday, got there Friday. And I basically didn't, you don't sleep on the plane much. And, so it's 3 in, but it's 8 in in Barcelona. And now you're like exhausted trying to, but you don't want to sleep. It's 8 o'clock and you're in Spain or Amsterdam or whatever. When are you going to Amsterdam, Bobby? I'm waiting to hear that trip. Although you got everything in Tampa, I guess. But I found out I was most claustrophobic in an MRI. I got an MRI, and my shoulders were touching. It's like a tube, right? And well, Bob, you probably had them in sports, but it's a tube. But my shoulders were touching the tube and I'm looking around, and now they have a bigger MRI, but I just say, fuck it. I don't even do MRIs. You don't really need to, because you get the same result in an x-ray, but they get to charge you a lot more in an MRI, because it's really just an x-ray. And they say it's a little bit better, but fuck it. I mean, just give me an x-ray. But yeah, that's claustrophobic. I mean, your shoulders are touching the machine. If you open your eye, the key is don't open. Just close your eyes and try to go to sleep. But if you look up and you see something this close to your eyes, you freak out. You become claustrophobic very fast. Anyway, so tomorrow should be Mark McGuire's show. Although I don't think he'll talk about BRICS, because his shows are usually done on like Tuesday or Wednesday, and then he posts them on Friday. So he'll say, oh, BRICS is going on. Yeah, like, we need you to tell us. So that's why maybe Egon. But see, Egon won't care. He says it won't matter because we know that the U.S. central bank will print the money to zero, and the gold will be worth a lot. So he doesn't even worry about it, as that's what I try to tell you. And then his whole concept of it's only 7% at 45 months and full at 45 minutes and full at 50 minutes. So he's trying to say your gold might sit around 2,000 until it hits 25,000, and it's just going to explode. So keep that in mind. Oh yeah, I've had a few. The leg MRI is nothing, but I hate any upper body MRI feels horrible. Yeah. Well, there is an open MRI, which is, I guess, a little bit bigger, which is probably a lot more expensive. But yeah, that's what it is. But for your legs, you could have got an X-ray, and I'm sure it would have showed the same thing that the MRI does. It's just imaging, which is really what an X-ray is. I love when you go to the dentist for an X-ray and he sits there and you put on this lead line thing and he leaves the room and you're like, what the fuck, man? I'm getting radiation. What are you doing to me? So yeah, I don't like the X-rays at the dentist. Anyway, so we got football. We still got a few weeks. I don't know what the NFL's doing. They'll have week 3 today. Why do they need a bye? And then I'm reading where these scrimmages that they play are not even like a full game. They're not a regular game. They're not hike, run the play, and you got 20 seconds to, huddle up, run the play, where you're actually doing endurance, and then there's no tackling. What the fuck? You think that's going to get you ready for the game? You got to be out of your mind. So, and that's the fantasy. They don't get it. What else was I looking? Anyway, so we talk free market with the electric cars and all that. If you don't have a market, you don't produce something there's nobody wants. Toyota, I was watching the thing on Toyota, and the CEO of Toyota says we're not making electric cars because we don't even know if there's a market for it. And I was like, finally, some guy that understands it, although Japan doesn't understand money because they're about to blow up because their currency is so fucked up. They make ours look good. But the guy who runs Toyota understands I'm not making electric vehicles. There's no demand for them. So until I understand what's going on, I'm not going to make any. Although his problem's going to be good luck finding silver by the time you realize it. But did you realize the batteries were like 1,000 pounds in an electric car? They fucked the tires up. They fucked the road up. Good luck finding charging stations and all that, and good luck taking a trip and not worrying about where the charge is. I drove to Alabama. I never once worried about finding a gas station. Could you imagine finding a charger? You got to be. So how fast do you go in the car? Do you go 70 miles an hour? So every 4 hours, you're going to look for a charging station and hope you don't run out. And then you're stuck in the car because you don't have electricity to open the doors. I mean, unbelievable. So it's coin store time again tomorrow after you early work day and Mark McGuire. Yeah. I'm trying to decide what to do because I do have rent and I'm helping Daria with her teeth. She got 2 implants and then she showed me her other side. She says, even though the FX, so as I was saying, it used to be $1 bought you 60 rubles. Now it's $1 buys you 95 rubles. So she says we should take advantage because I get a lot more bang for my buck. So I did the math, and it's like $1,000 for her 2. They got to get like teeth pulled and then do some surgery and then put the implants in. So she showed me the 2 she got there. I said, why don't you buy a bridge? This is a bridge here. I got these 2 teeth knocked out, and these 4 were shaved down. They put the 6-tooth bridge in. I says, why don't you get a bridge? But I don't think, she says the other 2, which they can't shave down. So there's no place to put it. So this bridge has like holes here to put in the shaved teeth, and there's nothing here. This is just teeth, but I don't have anything underneath them. So she says, all I got's the wisdom tooth. They can't file that down. So I'm like, okay. But I hear so much more about implants, but I don't have. I got a few crowns and the bridge, and that's all I got. So if I have to, when I'm in Switzerland, I'll give Egon my crowns and put them in the vault. Everything goes in all the gold goes in the vault. Anyway, so it's funny. I'm watching 24, and I bought like the DVDs at this cheap place. So there's season 5, which if you've watched 24 was the what's his name, and he was like as corrupt as Biden. Then I'm watching season 7 now, where they're in, I think, Washington or New York, and they're saying the whole government's corrupt, and I'm going, aha, they're taking these storylines and using them in real life. So you got a dopey president, which now you got, and now you've got the whole government corrupt, which is what you got. So I'm going to look, when I go to Berlin, I want to go to Switzerland, take a few days, and just check in and try to meet Egon and just see about moving there. Now, with my job, I can live in Berlin as long as I'm still got a U.S. address for tax reasons. So he says you can go for 3, 4, 5 months and work there as long as you're still a U.S. citizen with the U.S. address. But I'd love to move to Switzerland, but I don't know if I want to be a Swiss citizen. I want to get out of here because this is fucking, I'm in the Titanic and the water's coming in. I'd like to get the fuck out of here. But I would like to see Switzerland before, because I don't want to pull another Alabama where it was like the dumbest city in the world. So I want to see what it has. But so maybe I'll take a couple of days and have lunch with Egon, and we can talk gold. Maybe he'll give me some gold, or let me put my gold in his safe under the mountain. I love that. The other place is Hungary, which is supposedly fairly good. However, it's I looked at the currency's like 300 to 1, but the inflation's not that bad. So I don't know what the fuck. I don't know why their currency's so bad. But that would be good. $100 buys me 30,000 Huff and Puffs, or whatever you call the Hungarian dollar. They're not on the euro, and see about that. But I don't know. I don't know much. I've never been to Hungary before, but but they've went conservative. They elected a conservative guy. They hate George Soros because he's from Hungary. So all positive signs. So I'll have to see that. So I might as well take advantage of going to Berlin for a month or so. But we'll see. The key is having internet at the apartment. and then finding a pool to swim in. I mean, what do you go see in Berlin? This is where Hitler first killed people, and here's where he robbed this bank, and here's where he hit his goal. I mean, I don't want to know that kind of shit. So I'll have to see what Berlin has. I don't know. I'm not a big German fan. Anyway. So what else? Any other questions, comments, anything? Yes, I will report back the gold. I think I'll start doing Friday shows because now we got football Saturday to at least go over the games. Because here we've had a month to go over the games where once it starts going, I'm going to need probably Tuesday to go over the games, to go over last week's games and go over the new ones. And Thursday, and then we got to talk pro and we got to talk college. So I'll probably want to talk college Friday and then go through the lines Saturday morning, and then Sunday morning on the pros go through the lines and still throw gold and silver in, which I just talked football before. So I'll have to try to figure out what to do. Once this Labor Day is over, it'll be back to 8-hour days, I believe. Right now, the plant at Harley is 4 10-hour days, no Fridays. Finance for 4 9-hour days and a 4-hour Friday, so we can at least be there if something's needed. But I think after Labor Day, the plant goes back to 5/8, and I think we go back to 5/8. Although I think for my purpose, I can keep doing what I'm doing. I don't think they care. I think it's just they trust me, obviously, if I'm remote, and I'm not the only one. And I think he gets his work done when it's month end. He's giving me the reports. That's all I care about. So I guess that's it. So we'll maybe I can do more. I'll get out. I'll maybe do a 7:30 to 3:30 or something. Because working from home, I don't have to drive there or back, and I can just cook my omelet 30 or something like that, and then do the show after. We'll play it by ear right now. Anyway, one lock going on Saturday. Waiting on Utah to figure out if I'm playing it under or Utah. I have no inclination to play Florida. It's either Utah or under. Waiting on Mr. Rising, which we should know by next Wednesday. Otherwise, I got the lock. We've got the Army Texas free pick, and I got about one lock and then 4 other kind of averages. I like Army. Lou Monroe sucks. So I don't know. Like you feel good about the 9.5, and then you kind of don't. Like every time the line jumps like that, the other team wins. So hopefully, and then Texas at Kilroy. So I feel good about that. We'll look at USC. We'll look at San Jose State and Hawaii. They're going to be playing early and then the next week. So we don't know yet on those guys. That's a TCU. I think will be strong. Oklahoma State. I think Oklahoma puts up 100, but I don't know how good Ark State is, or if Oklahoma didn't have a defense last year. So that's what you kind of want to see. But I don't know how much you learn on Oklahoma, Ark State. Now, what I'm waiting for is Oklahoma, Texas. I'm taking Oklahoma in the revenge game. So you look for those blowouts, and then that's what you go with. So you kind of, in the immaculate reception the next year, Oakland in the regular season beat Pitt, and in the Super Bowl III, the Jets upset Baltimore. Well, they played 2 years later in the regular season. Baltimore won 35-0. So you don't want to forget the big games when you lose. You want to keep that in the back of your mind. but I don't see anything else like that. Anyway, so you must get your thoughts on what you're looking for. I was talking to Jenna's friend, Natasha, who's from Ukraine, who lives in Berlin. And the guy I met when I was in Barcelona, I hated the guy. And I told her that, and now he left her. And she says, I don't talk to him anymore. And she says, I guess you're right. And I says, well, you got to know what you want. I mean, you wasted your time with this guy. You've got to like this. This is the type of guy I want, or in my case, the type of girl I want. You know, nice, got to be pretty, got to be, treat me well, or care, listen. So you go over certain traits that you like, that you want, and certain traits you don't want. And so I told her to do that. I said, you like me, so try to use my traits to meet a guy like me would be good for you. So most people don't do that or even understand. That's what am I looking for, so that's what they have to do. Anyway, going on almost 3 hours. I got to talk to G about her picks. So www.teaserking.com. You can buy the package. The year is very cheap. $750 divided by 21 weeks of college and pro and locks is like $35 a week. Good luck finding that anywhere else at my skill set. If you just want to play this week, you can buy the locks. The locks are $75 a week. You can buy them all for $500 for the year, and you'll just get all the locks. You can play if you buy the month, it's $300 for all the pro and college for the month. But if you're going to do that, you might as well do $750 and buy every game. Now, I'm not trying to sell you, but I am making it. That's the best value. And we pick a whole lot of winners. So as you can see by my history from last year, if you got questions like G bought from me, and now she's like, I want to play a 3-team teaser. Give me a third game. I don't know what she bought, but I give my pick. So she's probably looking to go, well, who should I play? So I will help you there. And like I said, if you buy from me, then I send you an email. Okay, next weekend, we're looking for that Alabama, Texas game. I'm going to email you. This is who we like. Bet it now. Mostly it's the totals. So when I get a USC UCLA and it comes out at 60, I'll email you saying bet the over on it now, because by game time next Saturday, it's going to be 67. And we can get it in at 60, or the Georgia under, comes out at 56, and by game time it's 52. And I will know what I want to do right away. So I will see that and go, and I've already got 2 games pegged for next week or week 2 that I want to bet right as soon as I get a line on it. I want to bet it, a total on it. I want to bet it on Sunday, not wait till Saturday when it gets adjusted 5-6 points. And I do that a lot, and I've won a lot of money on it. Last year, it was like all the overs: USC, UCLA, Utah, Washington. Or it was like a joke. It was like, bet it now, and just make sure the injuries. You're welcome, Bobby. Yeah, football finally here, and we'll have some fun. Notre Dame, yeah, and curious how Hartman looks. And Van Dyke, I think, is pretty quick. So it's good to see the boys. And then we'll find out Rising probably next Wednesday. The game's Thursday. And if it's a game time decision, I'm more than likely thinking he's not playing. And that's the only problem. I'll probably play it under if he's not playing versus Utah. But if the line goes down to 3 and I get Utah at 3, I'll take Utah at 3 with the second stringer. I mean, Rising was a third stringer before he became the superstar. So I think Utah can beat him even with the third string quarterback. I think they just run the ball and play defense. I don't think Florida gets past midfield with Graham Mertz. So anyway, that's kind of what it is. But let's enjoy football finally, and we'll just be patient. Buy your gold and silver as much as you can to get out. You want to get out of this is going to zero. This is a fact. So you want to get out of this because it's going to zero anyway. So that's your key. Your next key is then the gold and silver to go up. So the key is to get out. Put it this way, the boat hit the iceberg and the water's coming in. So the first key is to get out of the boat before it sinks, and your second key is then to get into the lifeboat. And our lifeboat's gold and silver. It's the only lifeboat, not Bitcoin, not stocks, not bonds, not a house, not euros, not, maybe BRICS gold currency, but it won't be out before this collapse. But that's really what you want. So at this point, you want gold, but the key is getting out of the Titanic. So you got to get the boat sinking. So the first thing is get off the boat, and that's what that is. This is getting off the boat, and then you're on the gold boat and you're safe. And that's really, and then it should start. Then it'll start going. So the gold boat's like waiting for all the passengers to get off now. And once all the passengers get off the Titanic, we're all on the gold boat, then it's going to start the engines and go. That's about as clean as a description I can give you. All right, what's today, Thursday? So I will, Saturday morning, I will be on. We will talk the spreads. Bobby said Notre Dame's at 2:30. So I'll be on about 11:30. We'll go through the 826 lines. There's only the 6 games and maybe the 831s. Any updates on Rising or anybody that gets hurt or is okay, that's what I'll do with that. And that'd be about it. So have a nice, I'll talk to you Saturday. Have a nice Friday. Enjoy. Starting to pour here, I see. So take care. Thank you. Again, www.teaserking.com. On the site, you can see purchase picks. So you'll want to purchase it and wait for the password. Then go into this week's picks and look at the picks. You'll get my email is on the site. If you want to email me, you're confused, you did something, you didn't get the picks, you didn't get the password. How do I bet it? So it's a little different because I'm listing the teaser where most of the handicappers are listing, take Notre Dame, take UCLA, take Pittsburgh, take Philadelphia, where I'm giving you the teaser, take USC with UCLA, and it's 7 units or 9 units. That's really just the strength. I don't know how else to say it. So I say, I'll just put 9 units on it, but I don't really want you to bet 9 if you're a unit, but you got to learn your money management skills, and you got to learn what's a unit, what's my bankroll. So you got to have a bankroll and then come up with the unit and then just bet the 7. So you break it into 7 and 9 units or this, 11, 15 or that, and locks in 20 units. I bet this much. And then as you increase your bankroll, then you increase the bets. So that's what you will have to do. But certainly ask me. I get a lot of emails, so feel free. Again, www.teaserking.com. All right, everybody. Have a great weekend. I'll see you Saturday.